You're done.
Ya Allah, dari situ dong. Ya Allah. Istri aja. Ada. Lo bukannya terus itu? Ooh.
10 kills remaining. Done. Five kills remaining.
5 skill remaining.
Finished. You're nothing. One kill remaining.
Guys, udah mau mulai kayak ini guys.
Gen.G necessarily has as much of a home crowd buff either, because PRX has gained a lot of fans in Korea over the years, especially after last year lifting that trophy over DRX and then going and representing Pacific.
Pretty much everybody was completely and utterly wrong about, I don't know what, from second all the way down to 11th.
Yeah, and the big thing is again, that's off the back of a lot of these new faces, right? Where we heard some hype about some of them, but the question always remained, but how do you perform against the other T1 teams and players, right? How do you perform against other Pacific teams? And now, for someone like KAWAN, it's like, well, how do you perform against PRX out of all teams that you'd have to face in your very first week of debut in the VCT? he has to prove himself, just like Izu has, just like Governor has, and of course they've played in challengers as well. But KAWAN has to come in and say, you know what, I've been ready for this. I've been coached through this as well, alongside my teammates, because those are some veterans who have played against the PRX boys quite a few times, and he has to be able to hold his ground.
I love that these rookies, the new faces here, they're like the special seasoning over here in Pacific, right? You have these teams that we thought we knew, and then suddenly you have new names come on board, and Zeta is looking incredible right now. We have, we have Talon, who suddenly looks like, they could be a contender for qualifying into playoffs, where we thought that, like, okay, Team Secret surely should be one of the strongest teams. But now it's kind of like, again, like you mentioned, we do have to erase everything, and we're kind of like all off the mark. But I feel like it's really on the back of those new names, those rookies that had that X factor this time around.
And that's so exciting, right? I think that's something that Pacific as a region has been starving for, quite frankly, because there just wasn't as much history in growing up new talent in a game like Valorant. But just in the last 2 years, we've seen this surge coming up. So, I mean, this is exciting that it's not just like one country either, across the different countries, whether it's academy players, whether it's Challenger League players, whether it's unknown recruits like KAWAN, we're seeing teams scout out new talent and bring them up to the big stage.
Yeah, it's very much flipping the script as far as the expectations are concerned, because a lot of us, and I'd say most people in general, you'd think, okay, well, this team is just rebuilt, and there's so many rookies that haven't played in Tier 1, they're probably going to take some time to get together, for this team to come together, for the synergy to be built up, for them to really find their footing and get used to being on stage in front of an audience, and that's just been completely subverted. Everybody's come out here making their debut, re-debuting into Tier 1. They've pretty much all looked absolutely incredible.
Well, we're about to get right into it, so let's welcome back our champions to the Pacific League stage and GEN.G, their competitors.
솔직히 작년은 이제 더 이상 생각하기 싫은 시즌이 아니었나 생각합니다.
誰と対峙しても新しいメンバーたちで新しい波を立てます。
Our team is stronger than last year, but we grew stronger as well.
Don't forget that we're the champion last year. We are in the different group.
우승해야죠. 들어오자마자 우승. 이거 낭만 아니겠습니까? 파이팅 해야죠.
부끄럽네요.
We have a great team this year. I'm very excited. I think we don't really have a key player. I think everyone is a key player of the team.
For Team Club Esports, the chemistry has been at an all-time high. Kickoff will be the perfect start for us to prove ourselves and show our potential.
Before the kickoff, we had a long break. We are completely a different team now. We're gonna show you guys the new RRQ this year.
We can be a lot more aggressive, not caring about what others say, and just play my own game.
다른 팀들이 이제 저희 팀을 이제 경계를 좀 안 하는 것 같은데 새롭게 맞는 방법을 좀 알려드려야.
퍼시픽 내에서는 피지컬이 압도적으로 좋은 것 같고 다들 기대하고 보셔도 될 것 같습니다.
持てるものを全てぶつけていくっていう気持ちでできてますね。
I'm super excited to showcase myself in the Pacific Kickoff. I have no fear about Diablo at all.
自分のプレイスタイルはキャラクターコントロールがうまいなと思ってるので、自分でもそこを試合でも見せれるように頑張ります。기다려.
손에 꼽을 정도로 재미있었다라고 생각이 들 정도로 재밌게 준비를 했었고, 이번 시즌 T1은 자유로운 스타일을 가진 팀이 될 것 같아요. 이제 경기 시작하면은 누가 진짜 잘하는지 볼 수 있을 것 같아요. There is a unique strength of our team. We don't care who we face and we don't care how hard it is. No matter what happens, we will always win. Everyone knows that we're the champion last year, but I think
This time we will get even more stronger than before.
저는 진짜 이번 정도면 이를 갈고 나왔습니다. 저희가 이길 거예요.
Welcome to the Valorant Champions Tour Pacific Kickoff. After a wave of changes, stronger teams were waiting in the wings. Starting today, teams will face eliminations. But before that, it's time to meet our Pacific Kings in Seoul. It's time to showcase the might of W Gaming, PRX. They've already proven themselves against old rivals RRQ. Rev up the engine and keep the momentum going for the return of the ultimate GEN.G!
Alright, so as both teams are here, we'll begin the map ban of today's first match. We'll conduct a coin toss to determine the higher seed.
Well, now going into our map bans for PRX versus GEN.G. This is going to be so interesting because we have two teams that can be very flexible, right? PRX, pretty much everybody's expecting something to be flexing already, and we have Meteor and Munchkin that are able to flex as well for the side of GEN.G. So as we were saying, we're not sure what agent composition we're going to get, but these maps are going to be pretty determinant of that.
Yeah, well, we'll get maybe a better idea as far as what they're going to be piloting, especially if GEN.G has any kind of repeat maps that do come up. When they played against RRQ, we saw Icebox, Split, as well as Sunset. But okay, GEN.G going to be bringing up Bree, so we will get a new look on this squad. Big question is, do they play Yoru?
Yeah, but if they do, that is some tape that GEN.G actually has of how PRX plays that. And if it's not that, historically, PRX has struggled with Breeze a lot. So I actually like this pick from GEN.G, especially with the option for things like the Operator, the Outlaw on this squad of GEN.G.
I mean, I'm wondering if GEN.G are going to be playing that Yoru as well. You know, do we get to see that coming through? Not something I believe that Texture's really played maybe a handful of times in his career, but none of them really spring to mind. But Lotus coming in for PRX, this just feels like maximum comfort. And overall, it is a map that there's an immense amount of tape on for them. So Gen.G could have, you know, and will have done a lot of studying of that map.
Well, it looks like Gen.G have heard rumors of the age of Yoru making a comeback, and they're like, oh, we remember PRX Unbind. Let's not do that, right?
Yeah,
that one would be a little bit bold.
Yeah, I mean, definitely banning that out as well. And also, I think accepting that the old ways that, you know, some of these players and the coaching staff used to play Bind no longer works. A lot of them used to actually have a lot of pride on Bind, but things have changed since then in the game in several different ways. So that is going to leave Sunset, which again, some tape from PRX, though surely there could be a lot of changes as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them, you know, versus Sentinels, and they did make that a pretty close one in the grand final. And like you mentioned before, you know, had to run that back versus T1 as well. So there is a bit out there to study when it comes down to that newest map in the pool. But have they changed anything is the big question. But as we get ready to focus on Breeze, I mean, my eyes immediately just have to go to Forsaken to see what he's going to be playing.
Oh, it's something
playing Yoru as Forsaken's playing Harbor.
And meanwhile, we have Astra for KAWAN as well for Gen.G. And
Let's
I
go,
mean, I'm
let's
actually
go, let's go.
okay with this. I think if you're going to play double controller, there's some options for that Astra as well, especially because you have the Cypher to really anchor
Breeze,
down one site. But the single duelist Yoru for PRX, I mean, we've seen
and
again.
triple control.
Yes, and triple control as well, right? And Manyet and that Omen, so Manyet should be a lot more aggressive now. So he's going to be acting as kind of a secondary duelist alongside the Yoru. Both of them able to actually enter in very different angles than you're used to.
That means that with this matchup right here,
Gue lagi main tuh, aduh, ngada-ngada aja ya kamu ya.
The question is, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be the Jet or is it going to be the Yoru here from the side of PRX? Because so far we have only seen success from the double duels compositions.
Well, what says duelist better than no Sentinel composition, right? That is definitely W Gaming. So let's get this first match started. PRX versus Gen.G. Over to Hey, I'm Quack, and hey, it's Asarai.
Sumpah.
Hey, it's me indeed, and with Quack. Man, time to bring your face masks. This is going to get a lot smoky here on Breeze. Triple controller, my man, on PRX.
That is super interesting. I mean, we've never really seen this being pulled out from this team before. But apart from that, also something on the Euro I think is a little bit worth mentioning. But of course, we have seen how strong Gen.G was yesterday. We can see and we can expect a lot from Texture. Are they going to do the same thing?
Absolutely. Now, looks like PRX is going to be starting to spread their wings a little bit all across the map. And this is, I think, the good thing about that triple controller comp is you do have so many options to blot a good chunk of a big map such as this Breeze.
Especially on the attack, right? Just having three, you know, sets of smokes to cycle
Tumben
through.
nggak
They
bawa
already sent
healing
out a high
ya.
tide across A. It creates a bit of pressure, but at the same time, sustaining a bit of damage towards this B site. I think Gen.G gets a bit of information.
Yeah, haven't committed to toxic wall yet, so not really too much has been shown here by the hands of PRX. There it is.
There we go.
On the clock, there's still so many options that they can choose for. And
muter balik,
I think
muter
they're just
balik.
making sure that Gen.G has to just commit a lot of their stars for the start of this.
Apart from that, also
Masih
just
waktu
with the
berapa
gate
lama ini?
crash that something is using, you know, they're going all over the map, but here it comes.
Yeah, Tripwire on that A site. This is the Yoru though, so he can bypass it. Needs to break it. Munchkin has been given up already. Right in front of him too.
Nah,
On the contact
oke
point, it's
monyet.
good. Something finds another. And they already secured that A site in the blink of an eye. Rest of Gen.G will have to go on that rotate back to the A site, but look at how far Davai has pushed up on Halls here. He's the first Vanguard for the moment.
Davai.
Holding, whiffing.
Aduh,
He's gonna go down, but
Davai.
he's got that information for the rest of PRX.
Yeah, it was a good hit nonetheless, and you know they know that there are players coming from Bridge, coming from Halls, and that just confirms a lot of it.
Okay, dash in. Texture's very aggressive into this as well as uber confident, but of course, PRX just going to be playing that post plan. Something coming around the corner, repositions, has to help out his team. Right at the precipice of the smoke, push from Texture. Gets a second, he can. 5 bullets, dashes right in.
Ya Allah.
He picks up the 4K.
No way! First round, already picks up the fourth. You see how he has that trigger discipline. I mean, normally we talk about trigger discipline. You're, you know, hiding, waiting for the opportune moment. He's just waiting to track as the movement slows down. And that is unbelievable skill.
Man, the punish from that one too. You'd think that smoke would actually help out.
Sudah apa kuncinya sih itu dia? Kalau dia bisa dapat ya tadi.
Texture basically got a lot of these segmented 1v1 fights in the span of just a couple of seconds, ultimately turning the hand for Gen.G.
And now they've picked up the Bulldogs. You got an Outlaw on Texture. He's looking to pick up the Bladestorm early on.
Oh, he wants to go for this insta peek on A main. PRX, they give him the satisfaction. He's getting closer. His teammates breaking and giving as much support as possible. And Wanyat's down already.
I mean, that's the other thing, right? Because it's an Outlaw, it's just so powerful. Anything on an eco round, it just chews right through. So these guys, PRX, they got to be so careful.
You can already see one spotting the tripwire outside of B main. Still, it's not going to stop PRX from starting to move their forces all the way here. Looks like they're just okay with that. Device still hasn't gotten any contact with the Sheriff that he's bought the past 2 rounds. That's looking a little bit iffy. With the stars being committed here as well, and Texture actually pushing all the way up onto mid, this could be very bad for PRX as the spike drops.
Texture gila juga ya sendirian doang, coba berani
They
dia.
know he's here. They don't really want to challenge him. It's way too risky. So they're running out of options. You can't go back into Elbow. You can only, you're pretty much stuck inside of B main. Texture, well, Tailwind's away, so
PRX mainnya sekarang jadi
got a bit of breathing room, but 30 seconds
nggak
left.
begitu barbar ya.
Something's gonna just try to make something
Santai, muter-muter dulu.
Make some contacts here. Does
Mati
have
sih sumpah.
available. It wants a challenge.
Kata
Get the outlet
lagi.
texture, but when it's
Es
140 body
udah.
shot damage and you have shield or half shield, it's just not gonna work. You're just feeding him the
Kata udah dikasih makan anjir.
2 rounds in to the first map of this game.
Wow, that's just a big boost of
Dikasih makan anjir.
confidence for Texture starting things off. I mean, well, yesterday
Wah, ronde
he said he
2
was
udah dapat
angry.
ulti itu Texture tuh.
Today, I don't know
Gokil.
what he's on, but this is a
Something
whole
juga
new
udah
look.
dapet sih dia.
Bladestorm already available. I mean, the other thing is
Tuh,
also
dia
just,
masih satu, dia
PRX, they had
ngambil-ngambilin
Sheriffs,
off mulu anjir.
they're just trying to maybe go for some picks or the spike plant. Couldn't really find anything, and that's a little bit surprising.
There's so many players, I think, in this 2024 Pacific League that is on their revenge arc, right? Like Lenny, not getting the chance to play for Team Secret, and Texture, as the Des was mentioning, not having any opportunity to showcase his duelist, but here comes the dueling potential for something as he pushes up onto Orange. Any tricky business? Spots one, getting into the astral dimension, goes out, flashes, he still challenges something,
Aduh,
something
something.
happen here, and he does get it. Follow up by Monyan, but KAWAN's holding on. 3 versus 3, spike planted down.
You got the cascade
Satu
up as
dari
well, so
mid
there's a
lagi.
lot more room for Seiken trying to
Lah,
play
yang dari
around
mid
this,
lama banget.
pushing
Sniper
Gen.G back. They want to burn down the timer, and they want to stay alive as long as possible.
Yeah, Munchkin's coming around
Nggak ada yang
corner
lihat.
here on double doors. They're just waiting for him to drop down
Oh,
already.
nice.
Forsaken's right here for the
Ooh.
first contact, but gets punished by Meteor. He's gonna be alone by himself. 1 versus 1.
Ketahuan
though,
dong
Divide.
harusnya dong.
Unknowing of
ngeliat.
where his opponent might be, not spotting Meteor, getting closer and closer. He might not even know about this. There it is. No more utilities for Meteor, so it's a straight up start of the defuse. Divide playing and will be winning the gamble on the
Gue
Meteor.
pakai bom. Hey, hey, ini bukan PB ya. Apa itu PB? Parah ya, nggak PB keren. Kalau bukan karena PB, gue nggak bisa punya PC ya guys. Cuman gue udah nggak mau main PB karena main PB pay to win anjay. Kalau spray transfer dapet aja.
And with that, you know, spike down, it's tough for Gen.G to retake in such situations.
True, but they do love their first contact, and Texture is already on
Mati.
this operator.
Oh.
There's not really much utility that can really punish him, but okay, Gravity will
dapat dua ya?
activate it, stuns as well, and that's gonna be, as the dust settles, 2 kills down against Gen.G. PRX
Untung dong
have
kalau
somewhat
gini
of
mah.
an advantage here. Oh, still pushing through the smoke!
Wah,
But
gila.
Triple
Karot.
kill, triple kill by Nacho, and MyFreak is alone by himself on Halls.
I can't believe that he reacted to that so quickly. I thought the Cascade would at least mask PRX's intentions for just a second, but he reacts just as quick.
And KAWAN's just so fast at being able to just get these punishes. MyFreak's giving away his position. Of course, Texture's not going to miss the beat.
Kok Gen.G jadi
They've been wanting to get this
wah, PRX terlalu ini, terlalu apa namanya?
The peek outs and the flashes just, even though they have the triple control,
Sabar.
it doesn't seem like it's, you know,
Agak
it's
barbar
giving them
dikit
any
lah. Tuh,
leeway.
ngapika gitu anjir.
Yeah, not yet. That's the thing. I mean, the smokes are still just smokes, and without the
Wah,
flashes,
Bantu.
dude, KAWAN was just popping off in that round. Round 5, this guy has 6 kills already as a controller.
I bet Will is starting to foam at the mouth. Yes, 3-1. Yes, this is what I was thinking, hoping about, predicting. PRX still wanting to get that quick contact, feeding all the orbs for something. this is a pretty good idea, I'd still say, because if he does keep getting that dimensional drift of his, it does give them a lot more access into the back of the site, but of course they still have to deal with this close contact that Lakia is setting up on A.
Yeah, with the positioning that Gen.G has, that classic 2-1-2 split. Oh, actually it's a 1-1-3 split. 3 stacked up. And it's just a little bit tougher for PaperX to break through. You got the stars as well, and those are really, really annoying. So maybe trying to bait around it, trying to bait KAWAN into a peak. But then you also got to worry about texture in this op.
Yeah, this is the problem about having a flash initiator. You just can't really flush out these set angles that they just break that. PaperX break that themselves. Anyways, hold on. There's going to be two on the side itself. It's KAWAN and Texture on that contact. Forsaken pushes out, but Texture, he doesn't respect this wall. He just goes and swims through with the high tide, giving him a high time. And now it's only Mindfreak and Divide to remain. The pinch coming in from Double Door doesn't secure anything, so that has to be Divide just putting up the toxic screen, hoping that Mindfreak could deal with Texture. It's not going to happen. He only has the Sheriff in hand. 3 versus 1, 20 seconds. He's going to have to start pushing in, but because of how much out in the open he is, he's going to be exposed to Meteor, and that's going to be the 4-1 for Gen.G.
Yeah, Gen.G are feeling fired up, having won those rounds against PaperX. They're like, yo, you guys think you're the kings of Pacific. Wait till you see what we've got. I mean, this Gen.G, Texture on the op, KAWAN popping off with kills. They are able to play these anti-flash positions on the A site, no matter what PaperX throws at them. The idea of going in for an execute like that off of, something on the Yoru, you've got Monyet on the Paranoia with the Omen, it's just not quite landing as it needs to.
I usually talk about win conditions and ideally what your team would want to use in these situations to actually make it effective. We're already seeing what was lacking, and it feels like they need that bit of information on who's at the back of the site. The problem is the dart's not going to be good enough. Something's not going to always be at the back of the site unless, again, he has the invulnerability and the scouting power of that dimensional drift. So what's going to be the adjustment here for PaperX? What happens when they don't have those tools available for them? When, again, like you're mentioning, they're only really relying on the triple smoke to kind of blot out these certain positions. That's not really making Texture afraid of holding the spots and just, using that tailwind to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, precisely, right? I mean, that's the other thing. It's just having those 3 smokes, 3 controllers. Surely it can be used to, just block off vision and maybe, block off certain areas. Make sure that Texture can't really, dominate the map in his current fashion. So whatever it is, that's kind of what the desk was talking about. Alex loves to call these timeouts. He knows when to pause the breaks. And right now, we shall see what kind of effect it has.
Well, Reckoning and Dimensional Drift is available for 2. I love this push from Texture. He almost finds something.
Who's next?
And something doesn't waste any time, though. He does use his ultimate to start clearing things up. Reckoning coming in from Double Doors, and he already finds one. KAWAN could be in a world of hurt. The flash is out, but he's out of harm's way. Back of the side going to be Meteor, using the cyber cages to give him a bit of positioning here to roam around. But something quickly deals with him, but KAWAN finds Forsaken through the off-cam kill. They don't even expect it.
He gate crashed back.
Paling satu liatin. Ya ampun, Davainya jauh banget lagi.
Still up towards mid. It's a good bit of vision, but it's a 2-on-3 nonetheless. He can't use the Viper's Pit.
Yeah, Mindfreak is just by himself right now.
Here.
I mean, there's even the smoke coming in from Double Doors. They have really segmented the 2 layers of PaperX, but the buy. He's hoping to be the savior here. Mindfreak's been given up out in the open. Texture. He's got everything, but the buy takes everything away from him, and that's going to give PaperX a round.
Making use of Mindfreak's position, keeping Divide hidden. They were able to pick them up apart. Getting information as to where Texture was positioned, as to where the rest of them were trying to approach from. They knew how to find those shots. And that's, again, something that PaperX can always do. But I think the crucial thing in that round was how something used that dimensional drift, how he pushed up all the way towards orange, towards bridge side. And from that point, he was able to find that back flank on towards Meteor. So that broke apart that A line of defense for Gen.G.
That, and if I can add, they spotted Texture on mid, so the threat of the operator is way far if they actually just start, hunkering their way onto the A site, which, ultimately, as I mentioned, like you said, works in the favor of PaperX on that push.
That said, though, we still need a few more rounds. Both sides have ultimates. And Meteor has been such a menace. Now he's swapped up over back to B side.
Timing
PRX is trying to approach here.
He's already preparing himself.
Wah!
Where did that shot come from? Meteor, I think, just shot through the smoke. That's going to be the punish on
Bete
Monyan.
banget sih
Waiting for the
Monyet.
rest of PRX to come through that B side. There's so many tripwires here.
Oh,
It
nice.
might get a little bit tricky, but something just slowly walks up. That's all you need, you know? Just keep it simple, keep it safe.
And that's the thing about New Breeze as well. This backside, back walls, you are able to sneak up on front like that. So now that the spike has gone down, Gen.G are sensing that they don't quite have the timing on this retake. Davai.
Yeah, he's going to be the first contact on this.
Davai kayak ini, Cok.
Down mid. He's already been spotted. Oh,
Hey!
Forsaken
For
not getting
second.
any shots. Finally does able to do so.
Untung aja.
Oh, the pinch works out, leaving Texture by himself.
Davai
Some
kayak
options here. Time might not be one
gua
of them,
lupa
though,
siapa
so
sih final lawan.
might have to save up and Mind Freak through the smoke or through the toxic screen blasts away something. Want to pick it up? Want to use it for attack? He will not. I was talking about the
Kalau orang
offer.
terakhir dia orang belakang mulu Davai.
You can definitely feel the impact of Alex's timeouts already, right? It just called from the previous round. Now they've won 2 in a row. And you can see the clear idea of game plan, how they make use of these smokes, how they use something to really creep in, cut out space, and really block off and cause a lot of chaos for Gen.G's defenses. So, wow. Counter timeout being called now by Gen.G.
Yeah, they just, again, they're starting to lose grip from a 4-1 and already turns into a 4-3 very quickly to turn around for PRX. Again, makes Gen.G quake.
EG sama kayak EG ini
This
mah.
is where I think it makes a lot of sense
Baru
to
ingat aja gue
again,
pikir
just take a step
siapa
back
ya.
first because
Oh iya, Evil
they were
Geniuses.
putting a lot of emphasis on using Texture
Selalu
as that big
satu
contact,
ditinggal.
but when he really can't
Entah
find
di
the contact,
mid buat
it feels like
nge-flank
there's not a
segala
lot of
macam.
options here for Gen.G to kind of try to do something else on that defense. Sure, you get the offhand kill from time to time as they start to creep up onto a certain position, but PRX, I feel with the composition that they've had, they're so flexible at just getting those kills even when it's a 4 versus 5 as they push up into a site. I mean, even if it could be like a 3 versus 5 because of how many smokes they can keep utilizing to block the sidelines of the players of Gen.G.
Yeah, that's right. And not just that too, right? I mean, apart from blocking off sidelines, I love how they're using this third controller, Davai as the Viper, as more of a sentinel, as more of a lurker of all things. Because as soon as he deploys his toxic screen, he's like, all right, I'm good. I can hang back towards mid, can get further information, try to cut off rotations as Gen.G tries to retake. And that is something that we've seen him do a couple of rounds now. He is that top fragger for PRX.
And additionally, I mean, if anybody pushes through that, you know, vulnerability as well as the decay makes challenges or fights for him quite easy. Anyways, PRX now looking to go for that B site. They do have the shock darts, so they are breaking as much utility as they can. And of course, yep, I love this. When you use the decoy, it activates the trip, so at least you'll know where not to push. Meteor is doing his damnedest to just, again, dodge everything, but it's not working. It's a lot of kills already positioned here for the favor of PRX. Lost at the back of the side. Texture does make a bit of wave at the back of things, but it's not going to work out, and Davai finishes it off, and we are tied 4-4.
It is an anti-eco round after all, but what a bit of an execute. PRX, you got the fake out, you got the smokes, and they knew exactly how to work against Meteor's setup. And that's the main thing. They want to counter that Cypher pick. They want to figure out a way to go through, and they've done it. Monyet can always try to step over it. He is that secondary duelist. Something as the Yoru just cuts in space, he can, you know, break open those trips and create a bit of flashes for his team. And it just does so much. Sometimes Gen.G doesn't quite know how to react, so there definitely is some changes in terms of that defensive setup.
Texture is still committing on this operator of his. Something one away from the dimensional. Imagine just like as Texture.
Like,
seeing that out of the open, right? Anyways, he's already committed the tailwind, so might as well over push just in case he can get that, again, that one-off kill if ever. Seems like because they spotted again Texture on B, or on A, excuse me, they're just gonna bring the whole enchilada on that B site.
Yeah, why not? We know we can avoid that off. We can just go straight for Meteor. We can go straight for Munchkin. Take out those two, and then we have the site. Seekers were deployed by Lakia, though, and he's already here to reinforce. Oh, something's trying to get that through.
Yeah. 2 on the interior of the site, excuse me. Monyet trying to find somebody inside of smokes, and it is so confusing to be in all of that positioning. Somehow, it is Gen.G getting on top of things. Monyet, no ultimate for him, so he's stuck here until Davai comes in. So he is waiting for his teammate to give him that assistance. 40 seconds on the clock, and this is a pretty smart move from PRX now that they still have that toxic screen to block away that control at the back of the site, where you already see KAWAN getting closer. He might not be spotted, as well as Texture coming in from B main.
Yeah, that's the main thing. They got to watch all exits, all entrances of this Viper's
Waduh,
pit.
gak ada yang lihat belakang.
Could be the linchpin for Gen.G.
Nice.
As a shot denied, Shorty's good. And look at this! KAWAN picks up the 4K, able to isolate, able to feed off of the play. The Texture is giving him the opportunity to retake the site and secure the round once again for Gen.G.
Keluarnya ke situ ya. Pasti udah kebaca, kenapa nggak ke kanan aja? Hanya bertanya kita mah. Sudah kenapa nggak ke sana aja gitu? Kenapa nggak? Tadi kan dia ke sini nih. Kenapa nggak ke sini aja nih? Muter sini.
Absolutely, and again,
tadi masih di dalam gitu, jangan di luar.
Any form of extra information there for PRX, they were just
Tapi mungkin gua kalau dalam posisi gitu mungkin karena kepikiran yang kiri dekat, mungkin ke kiri sih. Tapi kalau saya juga udah benar. Cuman menang Gen.G aja tadi kalau saya di atas.
To do this. Anyways, Paranoia is activated. Texture's blinded here. He's looking for a TP, but Locky is making some waves at the front of the site on Brig. And fortunately, Texture's not going to find the PRX Yoru. That's going to be a secure plant on the spike. Everyone else here for Gen.G looking for the lurk all the way through A main that is being handled by Mindfreak.
Still somehow KAWAN getting a tap onto something.
Wah, dua loh.
That brings things back to a 3-on-3.
Lihat sini, Mindfreak.
Of course, Mindfreak wanting to play off the Hunter's career, but he knows that there's potential play coming through.
Another one. Meteor gives himself a bit of space. Push left or right. What it's going to be? It's going to be the right. He wins, but he's down to 5. Oh, this is going to be so bad. Difficult even for him. That's going to be Divine bringing it back. Very, very confusing fight there for Gen.G. You just saw everybody look everywhere to look for any players.
That's the main thing, right? Because that's how PRX executes. I mean, Grandpappy Achilles will be smiling about that one. He's like, yeah, I remember there's PRX back in the day. This is what they used to do. They orchestrate chaos. And that's exactly what they do. You got something, gate crashing in. He's got the fake outs. And it's so confusing for Gen.G as they try to defend. You're watching for so many pieces of utility. Not to mention Monyet, who kind of comes in with a shorty inside the smokes. And that's what he was known for back on Global Esports last year.
Choosing whether he has to go for the gunfight or flash for
kalau tahu sih mending ke A. Kalau tahu ya.
Even additionally difficult. Munchkin, he backs away. Look at how close something has already got on the top mid. TP's out. I like the use of the code just to break the tripwire, but at what cost? Forsaken. He's already decayed down to 20, my goodness.
Yeah.
This man is walking on thin ice.
It got a little bit risky because Gen.G are trying to get a good read for the game right now. They've got these 4 players stacked up on B, so able to shoot through. And with the space now, Locky pushed up halls, but not quite able to capitalize.
Itu dia. Bener kan kayak easy banget ini mah.
All around the map sprinkled just to get
balik lagi dong ke B.
Lurk kills, and it is actually working for them, especially that
Gen.G
is on this weaker buy. Feels like Gen.G is just pressured to try to get control elsewhere, but PRX, it's a lure into their trap, man. They're just saying, sure, thank you very much. Texture though, this is the perfect chance for him to get some kind of information, some kind of impact.
You wanted to say something, didn't you?
I stopped myself mid-sentence already, all right? You didn't have to point it out.
I feel yes, right? I mean, it's just the name.
I can already feel the chat, you know? How is this caster like this? No vocabulary? Use a thesaurus. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it's not easy. Think we can do our jobs?
All right, KAWAN's alone. I mean, he's going to probably just wait till this event horizon engulfs him. Oh, wow, he even finds Monyet.
Oh, my God. That would be great if he could get even more or pick up a rifle at the very least. Look at how he's so careful jumping in out. But up against Forsaken, of course. It's going to be the tap that finishes him off. I mean, in this round, again, it's just kind of what we saw in the first, right? You know, PRX, they can play around the entire map thanks to the utility of Something's Yoru. I mean, gate crashing back and forth. They can rotate so easily. Sometimes Gen.G has to catch up to it.
Good as quick catch from Something and the rest of the team. As I mentioned, just playing the opposition lurks, playing with Gen.G, and one more round. It is pretty close though. Gen.G's able to get this 5-6. Could even be a 6-6 if they play their cards right. But with the Reckoning and Dimensional Drift activated, it could be very difficult. But Texture's already pushed up all the way through elbow. They're not going to know about this, but he lives. Thankfully enough, he has Lakia right beside him. PRX are dwindling in numbers. Mindfreak finds something with the Odin. I go to Spike. And he brings it right back. 3 versus 3. Plenty of walls. Can they calm themselves down to plant the spike even? Not going to happen just yet. Monyet has control of the back of the site here. Ultimate activated right now by Mindfreak. Big flanks coming in from Munchkin. So the time for Monyet to make something happen is very minuscule here. 2 versus 1. KAWAN now backing himself away. Gonna double up his teammate. This is the perfect time for them to try working their magic against the one. What is this TP? Did he try to pick up a spike? No, he's just trying to reposition for the fight. Very good. It's not gonna work out.
Nice try, but Munchkin just turns around and says, dude, you thought you could pull off that flank. How many flanks did we see in that round? I mean, first of all, we had, Mindfreak holding the angle with the Odin from window, but then afterwards, Munchkin coming back again from the same spot that Texture and Lakia approached from. I mean, it's just so confusing that PRX, their whole game plan kind of gets thrown off. You can see that what they wanted to do throughout this entire map, which truly was just either going for executes off of Monyet and something, or create a bit of noise, bait out that utility, and then rotate over thanks to their gate crash. Leave Divide on that lurk. It doesn't always work out. If Gen.G just goes in for, a bit of a flank, a bit of a retake. And that's the thing that you don't really have without like a proper-ish Sentinel. Yes, Divide, you got Viper, that's great, but no traps, no info.
Yeah, and again, it takes them a lot of time to just fiddle with their abilities, right? To throw it into a site. You already see how quickly, and you were mentioning this, again, Texture is just that confident, that much of a risk taker that he is willing to see the limits or see the chinks in the armor of the PRX setup. But now as we are flipping the sides here, the question comes into play, what is PRX going to do on that defending side? Are they going to do something similar to what Talon was doing, where they didn't have the Sentinel, where they were just charging out because they can't really anchor the site? Or as you were talking about, are they going to fall back with Divide, who's actually doing a heck of a good job on that Viper of his?
That's the craziest thing. I mean, it's a W Gaming squad. We expect them to push out. Now they've got 3 controllers, and Divide's the one doing all the fragging. So very curious to see how this will play out. I mean, you don't want to die too early on as a Viper either, right? Because then you can't really use your abilities. So PRX has to be a little bit careful, a little bit mindful about how they want to push out if that is their game.
Speaking of pushing out, there's like 3 players of PRX about to have the welcome party outside A main. Smoke quickly placed there, as well as the Cascade. Shock darts from Mindfreak to dissuade anybody pushing up onto the Hall's position. The swing outs from PRX, like I mentioned, because they don't have that Sentinel, they just have to start peeking and pushing, and as well as just getting that contact. Shots through the smoke, able to get Lakia. The push out from Texture.
Wow,
Texture. What a flick from Texture. But his lethality is still very much felt. Thus settling, numbers favoring Gen.G, Monyet as well as Divide. Divide's already coming in for the flank here, and Texture, he's very much unaware of it.
He is holding a bit of an off angle though, so Divide can't really just waltz right through that door.
On mid though, that's going to be Monyet by himself. Does have the paranoia. I'm not sure if he actually spotted the other one. Texture, that door closes. The opportunity for Divide is not even possible. Dude had the so close yet so far away situation.
He opened the door again.
Okay, so his positioning is already given. He's pushing out, jumping through the smoke smartly to try to get a coax out of everybody. And this is the thing, every single opponent of Divide right now is low, so his Sheriff has a lot of lethality on it.
Just one shot to the body. But look at the positioning.
He's so unaware. And you can see that with how he's moving up here, that he wants to get close against KAWAN, but he's so afraid of where Texture actually might be, even thinking it could be mid.
I mean, he's got a bit of time, but Texture is the main one to look out for right now.
Did they just barely miss each other? Look at Divide. I think he heard the drop down too. Texture's about to just peek out. The Divide, can he be able to really in for the round win? Cool, calm, collected. My man is patient as can be.
What is up, Danger? He's got that Sheriff. It's got the word Danger written all over it, and he just clutches it out for the team. I mean, apart from being, keeping his composure, just knowing, okay, I have a rough idea of where Texture is. As long as I keep my sights right up around door, I should be okay. But the main thing is also knowing that Karen's right around the corner, and he is able to flick back and forth, now catching up to Texture in terms of kills.
He completely turned around W Gaming. It turned into an M. Meditation, you know?
Yo, well, like what, Mario, Wario kind of...
Wah.
What am I?
But I mean, dude is, I used the term yesterday, I think, zen. Very zen with how he approaches these fights. He's not impatient, like you mentioned. He has a lot of time to make use of. Anyways, big contact coming in from this one. Couple of marshals activated. What a risk from Manya just to peek that out. Forsaken, though, dipping his toes as well into the swing game outside of A main. Oh, it's Manya, I love this. And he actually challenges, but Forsaken drops. This could be bad. If he re-challenges this once again, he's the only one holding the site for the moment here. And he has to back away, wait for the reinforcements as Mindfreak and Divide are slowly creeping up back onto A.
Trades the Outlaw for a Bulldog too, just wants additional firepower. We've got a little bit of support coming through halls just to check. But he's got to be so careful. I mean, Gen.G are bunched up together. It's a full squad of classics and marshals. He hears the jump. Gets the first shot.
He gets away too. So no trade here for Meteor. Throws out the recon dart for a bit of that safety. And he's home safe. Wait, no. Okay, I mean, now he's home safe.
Gen.G really just wants to wait for more picks and then maybe try to soften up defenses, try to sneak through. But at this point, only 30 seconds left. They have to hightail it to B. And as long as Meteor can do it, the same thing that he's doing right now, Gen.G might have a better time in this round.
Oh my goodness, Mindfreak couldn't really do anything. And the rest of Gen.G gonna be walking up to B.
10 seconds.
It's all up to something. He's got a Guardian. The aim god. Okay, good at the first.
Whoa.
The second one instantaneously, but he's dropping in HP and bullets and everything. And it's down once again to Monyet. Oh, was that a tag? It was. Look at how just low both of these players are. I mean, even if Meteor drops down, you can already see KAWAN waiting patiently at the back of the site, and even finds Monyet trying to reposition, and Gen.G somehow makes the thrifty round work.
I'll tell you somehow, it was Meteor. All it took was a Marshal, and this guy's still as lethal as he was last year. Maybe not on the Jet anymore, but as soon as he pushes up halls, look at these picks that he's getting. It might not always be headshots, but just because he plays around the space that way, plays around the obstacles, he keeps himself tucked away, and he's always able to chip away at PRX bit by bit. That's, you know, something had some nice Guardian kills that was really flashy, really fun to watch, but it's not clean enough for an anti-eco round that PRX was meant to win.
Absolutely. I mean, it just also felt like PRX was agreeing to the aim duel, and Gen.G was coaxing them to do that. There was...
You want an aim duel.
Exactly. Lesser risk for Gen.G to do that because they were just on marshals, man. They weren't even committing to purchase this. What was that? Actually gets through the defense, the line of sight. Doesn't even have to trigger the trap here, and does get a one-to-one trade. I mean, I don't know how impactful that is going to be, but still is going to show how both teams very much willing to take those off-angle risks to try to get something.
Both of them are in the fight very much so. 7-7 right now, and that's the main thing. You definitely can't underestimate PRX too much, and I think that's why Gen.G are taking things really slow right now. You know, maybe trying to suss out information, but we don't have that much in terms of gathering, right? You got to think about Lakia's guiding light usage. So maybe just executing onto A right now, and it depends on how well PRX can hold their ground.
What a far smoke from Munya, too! Mindfreak's going to be gifted himself a Bulldog, and no one's there to trade it for Gen.G. So they get themselves some control, but KAWAN and Munchkin making quick work of that A site. Gen.G find themselves the advantage.
1 point in the lead. It was against pistols, but you gotta admire how they, went in silently. Made sure that they were, going to pre-fire some of these corners. They checked some of it. Although Meteor did die, it was a bit of information that they could use to go up against, Mindfreak up around halls. And a relatively clean round for Gen.G, and that's what you would have wanted for PRX in the previous. So, on to the next. Now, Texture's got enough for the Blade Storm, doesn't need to buy up. Gen.G's economy starting to flow, Asarai.
Absolutely. They even have themselves KAWAN's Cosmic Divide.
Oh.
Wanyat finding Meteor through the push on A main. This is what they want. They want to stop these multiple angles of attack, go for a little bit of coverage, and the flashes is so good that Gen.G just have to rub their eyes and wait for the blindness to dissipate. And as it does, Munchkin's by himself. Forsaken devours, and that's going to be a flawless round for PRX.
Wow, I mean, that's another one of those things again, because when you think about PRX, every single one of these guys have the potential to frag out. And Monyet is single-handedly picking duels outside of, you know, A main. You know, he's got support from the team. You've got Forsaken watching mid. And it's just that much more difficult for Gen.G to really pull off some of these, like, split pushes that they want to go for. So they have to really rethink the strategies. You know, if this carries on, I could foresee a timeout being called by Solo.
Both teams have actually used their first timeouts as well in that first half, but it feels like they have a better grasp of what is happening right now. Again, it just goes to show how even it is, that 8-8. Look at how close something is on this mid control. How risky it is too. A stray pop shot, that smoke going, and there's the pop shot. He's actually getting tagged. He might want to get away right now.
Movement though.
But he did give away his teleport on. He does have the dimensional drift, so he can get away from this without having to use that gate crash, or because he's in such an off angle and he's that Yoru, he can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, he's gonna gate crash out now. Definitely doing what he wants. I mean, just getting enough information, or maybe pulling the attention away from Gen.G as they start to go back towards mid. Now the high tide invested. A little bit awkward though with the curve. So Texture has actually made it onto the other side.
He's still doing this. Something. Yikes. I mean, you know, shame on me. And then shame on him if he does that again.
Jason.
The wall's dropping down, and Forsaken! How he used his teammate as the great bait mate. They thought they wouldn't double up, but he did. He does get some value. 30 seconds left, and Gen.G lose all control of that mid-push, but they wait to use that neural tap for that information.
Asteroid, we are fishing out here, but it's big information. Now we know Davai is alone and cold on the B site. Maybe we could harpoon him, but we've got 13 seconds left.
Oh, he's just gonna hold by himself.
Wow.
Again, boy's patient, man. He just has to wait for him to peek into his crosshair, and Davai single-handedly holding this. Can he beat down Meteor? No. But because of the recon dart, he's given away his position. Meteor is just having to hold so many angles. The shot dart! Mind Freak, what are you doing? Have you lost your mind? Are you a freak? Well, he could definitely be. Paranoia misses Meteor, but know exactly where he is. Down to 14. 3 bullets and a dream. And is this dream gonna turn into reality? As Monyet denies. Comes up, man, swings, and does not miss.
He knows he's low, and all he's got to do is to go in for that burst. So very confident, you know, cool enough. He might be the youngest player, but still has enough experience, and that's one of the things that people don't really know. Might have been a global esports last year, but he has been playing throughout Indonesian Valorant for quite a while, and he's always been this talented. And apart from that, you know, also just Davai. You know, we were talking about fishing a little bit. Remember, Mika and Victoria were telling us about this as well. Davai fishes in real life. He is patient. And he knows he turns that situation into a 2-on-1 for his team.
Yeah. He knows that sometimes all he has to do is, again, not do anything. That's already a lot, because the stress on Gen.G makes them try to peek out, makes them want to get as much information as they possibly can. Something, he's already nursing himself an operator all above here on Halls, and I really like this because he gets so much information, so much value. His gate crash is about to expire, but shouldn't matter at the moment as Gen.G coming out of elbow.
Yeah, he can always just regroup with his team and other means. Main thing, though, is for Davai to stay alive right now.
Oof, well, he can, especially because of those flashes. But the punishes from the Reckoning, as well as the Hunter's Fury, does get the value something, just jumping in and out with the shorty.
I got the spike.
Numbers still favoring Gen.G. All of them now on the site. What's the damage here? What's the capabilities? Monyet wreaking some havoc outside of Arch, but he's alone. They haven't picked up the spike. He can reposition into this, and he's got everything. Shrouded Step, Paranoia, and there's smoke. Gen.G realizes, wants to actually double up. They want to use the numbers in their favor. Monyet
Did he hit all of them? He did!
Ooh.
He repositions! My god, Monyet!
He's
down
out of
to
ammo,
one
though.
bullet. He has to change, either reload or change, which he does. And Monyet almost gets it, but Munchkin perseveres and wins. Oh boy, that was close for both.
I mean, just a bit of nerves on stage. Unfortunate that he ran out of ammo in his magazine right after right, but still, it comes down to it. Munchkin actually lands the flick above Monyet, so it's all of these like really thin margins, and it comes out on top. Sometimes numbers advantage will still prevail, and that's why, you know, it gets so dicey when you're going for these shorty kills. The Reckoning, the Hunter's Fury was awesome, but not the cleanest, you know, fight back against it. You're starting to run low on rounds, right? It's 9-9. Alex calls a timeout, and that's something that we often forget. It's like, it's not just a battle of the teams and players, it's also a battle of the coaches. And, you know, Alex was talking about it, Solo back in the days, you know, he looks up to him, and he's communicating with his team as well.
It feels like the plan for PRX for the past couple of rounds right now has just been to disrupt the entry into the site of Gen.G, right? And again, it's resulted in more of these riskier plays that might not pan out as much for PRX. Something like, again, something that plays with an operator, just gets close in with a shorty, can't really threaten, can't really reposition anymore, gets traded out. You were talking about this. And then that leaves them into these kind of clutch situations, which PRX, from the looks of things, don't really want to always put themselves on.
So you always got to be careful. But what is this? Outlaw Marshall buy.
I mean,
I don't hate
there's
it.
like 3 players of Gen.G that is half shield right now, so
I don't hate it.
yeah. And plus, you know, FYI for people, if you only shoot 1 bullet at the outlaw and reload it, it's faster than, you know, the full reload. So
I don't hate it, but I'm nervous after oh boy.
okay, that's gonna be Forsaken's back. Oh, that's not even him backing away. That's a trade by Meteor, punished by Meteor, straight into the Neural Theft, and Peekaboo, I see you, whole map exposed.
Just trying to get out of, get as much out of Gen.G as possible in this round, right? If any round is the round that we want to bait out those ultimates, bait out those pieces of utility, that's gonna be this one.
Woo! Monyet got the Marshall in hand, shooting through the smoke blindly.
Wow.
Meteor comes in for the pinch, and he will get diced. Mindfreak looking a little bit too far away. That's gonna leave Ilya by himself. I was about to say the Vibe, and then he's just by himself right now. Oh, he does not get the shot onto Meteor as well, and he's position exposed. Gets the heal. This might actually have to be a save from him, as he just backs away. Wait. He has a gate crash all the way at the end of halls. Is he willing? No, probably not.
Yeah, I think it ran out. It's probably opting for the save instead at this point, but still, I mean, definitely trying to get an idea.
Yeah.
So scouting out, you know, what Gen.G's early game plan is, right? At least in the first 30 seconds. Sometimes, you know, they're up around elbow, up around mid. And this time you could definitely feel that A presence, and just not too sure how PRX can really disrupt that. You know, we were talking about it before. That's why you have the Yoru, right? You always want to push up front. You always want to scout and then gate crash back.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, sometimes just a little bit risky.
I guess the problem for that is because you only have technically the one duelist that can reposition. I mean, you can maybe argue that Monyet can also do it as the Omen here. There's not really a lot of options for PRX to really get out of harm's way without getting punished, even with the smokes, right? So we're kind of seeing the other way of that, which is getting punished by Gen.G and ultimately giving rounds to Gen.G. Okay.
Whoa.
Seeker's been activated. Forsaken's just charging right in. Divide? Does he even get spotted? No, he doesn't even have to look at his opponents. Cool guys, don't look at snake bite kills. It's not even an explosion, guys. It's a slow burn, a slow, painful poison burn. Cosmic Divide used on this A side itself. Cove making Gen.G just a tad bit afraid. As it drops, now they know. And they even have, yep, the Viper's Pit to make things a little bit easier as they transition, into this post plant.
And that's it, an uphill battle for PRX, right? They might be able to surround this Viper's Pit. There is a trip on the other side. Meteor can make use of it. And then you still got to watch out for those players up inside A main. How do you break this?
Monyet, though, he's vertical, dude. He's got the high ground advantage, and he is using that to actually get the one-up. Viper's Pit, use the snake bite to get a little bit of damage. No one's defusing the spike! And Munchkin through the smoke. Oh, this is going horribly wrong for PRX. Someone's going to have to start defusing it. Someone's going to have to hold him. Munchkin, what can you do? Absolutely everything, as he actually has bought enough time. They die to the event horizon, and that's going to be GEN.G with 2 rounds advantage, closing up to maybe the map point already in this game.
Just incredible. I mean, the combination of, first of all, the Cosmic Divide to give them that much more space, that much more security, and then the Viper's Pit, and how Munchkin is playing off of it. This is what GEN.G can do off of a post-plant, and it's just that much more difficult. PRX, although we had Monyet, kind of like you mentioned, Asarai, with the vertical play, trying to break through that Viper's Pit, trying to break through Meteor, it worked out for just a second, and that's why it's just so much that PRX has to work off, and now it's a 2-round differential. How do you climb up against that? And they have to make it happen if they are to start out strong in VCT Pacific kickoffs this year.
Well, thankfully enough, they do have money, creds, to have the weaponry to make something happen. I will honestly try to find a different word other than something. If you guys can just like DM me a different word I can use so that you guys will not be confused. Anyways, the man himself, Ilya, is there on elbow. Nursing himself, the operator, once again. He is just holding that angle for the absolute longest time. He is hoping that someone is just gonna go into his spider's web, but unfortunately for the moment, GEN.G, they have their eyes set up here on that A site, and it could actually be good. Monyet's cold in for that one-way smoke that actually drops in and turns into a regular smoke that has a very big partial outside of A main that could actually be bad for Divide. We'll have to see how that works out, and he is trying to clear that with all intentions by himself.
He's got a bit of time.
Oh, he's so alone. Oh, he is so dead. Oh, this is not looking too good for PRX. Forsaken doing the same thing. No flashes, and he absorbs his opponent right in front of him, gets full flash, but the trades from PRX are actually working. Shot through mid. Oh, something gets it. He even finds the lurking Meteor. And all of this because of the shock darts coming in from Mindfreak. Lakia will plant the spike. Monyet does not chase for him or tries to punish him. So it's the double up from the both of them. Something coming in from the white swing, and he's had enough.
Something getting the final kill. Mindfreak, you know, there's something getting kills, we've seen that before. Mindfreak with 2 shock dart kills. Not something you see every day, but a welcome sight nonetheless. I mean, just getting the information off of Divide, trying to play around Monyet's dark cover. That one felt really iffy. But look at how Forsaken really comes back in, and after they get that information, just being able to, you know, put out the tire traps. You got those caltrops, the shock darts. GEN.G can't really walk onto site that freely, so PRX trying to play a little bit more patient this round, especially with something posted up with that operator. That was the cherry on top in this round.
They got to go for these adaptive risks, I think, because GEN.G is so good at just, I don't know if I'm correct with these made-up stats, but they feel like they have the first bloods, you know, very much locked and loaded in this first map. Something at least pads the stats a little bit more in the favor of PRX with that peak. And that slows down GEN.G by a big margin. Not having the flashes anymore from Lakia really hurts the chances here for Texture to get more of these quick contacts into the site.
Definitely slows down GEN.G. They're always going to be thinking about what's next. But now, Dimensional Drip, just to gain further information. 1 minute left on the clock, and GEN.G actually going back off of a bit of a default. They want to spread themselves across the entire map. Ooh. Just saw the spike.
All right. Mr. Risky here. You know, not even...
Dude, they are living dangerously.
Aduh.
One Blade Storm at a time.
Aduh, kedengeran dong.
But it works for them, and right now he's got information if they were to cross in the risky way. Most of them have already bypassed it, so something going to reposition. But what I'm curious about is KAWAN actually lurking up around mid.
That also, and well, there you go. He finds the one pick onto something here. There's the quick charge out. Tailwind was actually saved up by Texture, so he has capabilities to enter the site. Oh, Forsaken's not going to know about Karen here. Or does he? The Reckoning actually spots him out 14 seconds. Let's see what the battle comes in through the mid. It's going to be Forsaken. Spike, though, should get planted. It's all down to Forsaken for now as he waits for Divide the back to side. Back to what? But Texture! What a reposition! What a challenge! And what aim has this top fragging Korean brought to the Gen.G roster?
Ya ampun.
Texture, what a monster! Dude, yesterday,
Texture
I mean 2 days
gila,
ago, he
Texture
already had such an incredible stat line up against his opponent's RRQ. Having those first kills that you mentioned before, I mean, he has 16 throughout the entire series. I feel like this one, he got even more. But not just that, the Blade Storm, the aim off of it, the way that he cut down Divide at his knees, really blocks out PRX, and now they've earned that match point. And remember, they are still sitting on 1 timeout.
Bro can see like 2 seconds into the future, man. And in a very quick and fast game like Valorant, that all you really need, that Cascade was supposed to give some sort of safety, an access point for PRX to
Monyet
get
sih
through on
bete
halls,
banget, sering
but
banget
it
mati
turns
pertama.
into a signal for Lakia to, you know, it's kind of obvious. I'm just going to pop shots. What am I going to lose? Absolutely nothing. And he gains the 1 kill for almost everything here. There is no money for PRX right now. Forsaken, okay, that's 1. Myfric's gonna have to go big, which he does. Oh, this drone blows up right in his face, dude. It's all down to the buy. He's got a Vandal, but he's so far from the situation on A.
Ya udahlah ya, game 1
I'm running out
dapat
of words.
Gen.G. Ya ampun, aneh banget
I
sih,
would have thought that
kenapa
maybe
ya?
at least something would have been able to get a trade at least, but wow. Decision making just a little bit off, but then at the same time for Gen.G to pick up these frags that quickly. They are looking in new form today. William is definitely chuckling at the desk. And now they are just 1 kill away from pushing us into the next map.
Definitely patting himself on the back with his Gen.G inspired outfit. 3 versus 1. Oh my god, Divide doesn't even have any smokes to supplement himself. He just has the weapon in the corners, and that Spike is just dwindling down ever so closely to exploding. He does find Texture, but I mean, Karen's just gonna activate Gravity Well. Whoops, whoop. That's about it.
They know they got it.
He's got no time, man. That's gonna be it. And Gen.G got themselves map 1 in this series.
Ada-ada aja ya, kenapa ya?
I mean, what an
Texture
unbelievable
sih lagi gila
performance.
sih anjir.
Texture on a new form, carrying through that momentum from just a couple of days ago. KAWAN, the rookie, still showing up huge. And Meteor, of course, you know, not much left to be said. They're anchoring, they're doing everything possible. They know how to play off of PRX's aggressions and just really fighting these fights against them, right? PRX had a tough time in the first half. They managed to tie things up, but even towards the end, just not quite able to defend against this.
And again, it's because of the fact that they can't really slow down what was available to them because of the composition.
Oh yeah, but you know what? Our analysts are going to break all of this down because we got a very interesting composition to talk about.
Are you guys okay? That was just map 1, by the way. That was the first game of the day, and we have
KAWAN was now aware of the fact that when you see one member of PRX, there's most likely multiple behind him.
Yeah, I mean, this is so well done, and it's something that I haven't experienced in a very long time, which is having some faith in Gen.G to be able to actually be this team that can contend for the top spots. Not since the beginning of Pacific have I felt this way, but it just feels like they are, in fact, the real deal. Texture continuing to put up these numbers, it shows that, you know, the match versus RRQ, it wasn't a fluke, it wasn't RRQ being a lesser team or anything like that. It's just the texture is him. Good God, the performances that we've seen. Our first Outlaw ace globally in VCT. He picks that one up. It's just phenomenal performances top to bottom, and KAWAN even looking way better than what we saw from him versus RQ.
Not to mention, he's having fun. You know, every time the camera cuts to him, he's just laughing, you know, he's grooving. You know, this is him in his element right now. He's so confident, and at the same time, again, his ACS has not dropped anywhere below 315 this entire kickoff. So I guess Gen.G, it is insane.
It's across 4 maps now.
Yeah, it's a crazy stat. I mean, Achilles and I were talking about it as well, especially for texture. We've been following him for his entire career in Korea, and while he's always looked like one of the best duelists, these are actually the best games we've seen from him at this level. The competition has upgraded, and he's saying, I'm still above all of that, and he's here to prove it with this new squad.
Gimana ini PRX ini? Aduh.
Just current era, because
Bisa-bisanya
when he
dong.
started off the game, even just a couple years ago, it's already so different. And the fact that he's still having these kinds of performances, putting up these kinds of numbers, is just so damn impressive, and it just tells you what kind of player Texture really is.
And the other thing is for me personally, I thought Munchkin was having a lot of trouble in that first half. I mean, he honestly only had 1 kill going all the way up to round 12, but he's able to really help bring home that victory in the last round of the half, and then he's climbing all the way back up as the IGL, going for the calls as well as the frags to help support the team. That gives a confidence for someone like KAWAN as well to continue fragging out, playing his comfort zone.
Is this new optic?
Is it gimana ini guys?
Oh my!
Ada aja. Deathmatch dulu ayo kita guys. Mari nunggu ya kan. Siapa nih yang on?
Match found. Deathmatch. Warm up.
stay alive. I want their life, not yours.
Fight!
No prisoners.
Ya Allah, nggak headshot lagi.
Dominating.
Ya, gua tekan-tekan aja. Bisa-bisanya loh. Ih.
Poor wretch. Insane.
Ya Allah. Nih.
You're done.
Ya Allah.
Finished.
Ten kills remaining.
Insecto.
Dua orang weh.
Five kills remaining.
Adios. Enough. Pathetic.
Di, headshot terus ya.
Dominating. 1 kill remaining.
That was a snack. I want a meal.
Weh, udah mulai weh. Sorry guys.
Kind of putting themselves in awkward positions and, you know, not quite landing their shots too. That's the thing that surprises me the most, because it feels almost as if there's like a bit of that mood shift. Coming back on stage, Alex talking to them that way, and after having lost the first map, they can't be feeling too good right now.
I'm going on to a different point here. You know how PRX on the attacking side here on Lotus, they love to break that mid link to go to A to B very quickly. You know, again, using those connectors from site to site to put a lot more motion in the ocean with how they rotate. Gen.G is doing the exact same thing, and it seems, at least for now, in these couple of rounds, it hasn't really paid dividends. What timing for something there. He's actually going to chase for the kill here. Thankfully enough, there's a lot of utility for Meteor to give himself that space. And yeah, 140 damage to the body. Atlas is insane, man.
Peter's not even going for the headshot there. And that's just unfortunate. Again, I mean, half armor, you want to get a kill, at least something, create a bit more space for the team, but can't find all too much. And something going chasing that way, it's, dude. Again, not a feels good moment, but for Gen.G, I mean, right now, we were talking about it from the previous round. You're talking about how they love to, you know, find that motion in the ocean across the map, find that space and push into the A site. They always have players watching their backs. They always have players watching out for those pushes from PRX.
And having Meteor playing as that Killjoy makes it so easy on Lotus. All you have to really do, I wasn't really expecting Wanya to survive that. All you really have to do is place your alarm bot on C-Long or A main, depending on which site you're actually committing to. You put it on the elsewhere, and then that one turret on B, or is just enough to check out all the flags. Also,
precisely.
Yes. Yes to your hub.
Also, just Meteor being Meteor. I mean, he was that guy who always bought Marshals in round 2 last year when he was the primary duelist for Gen.G. Now onto the Sentinel. I was saying because I saw a double Odin.
I thought you were going to point out the double Showstopper available for both the duelists very quickly here.
That too.
I love having ultimates very early into the game. It makes you very aggressive. And it looks like, okay, let's see. All right, that's going to be a trade for trade. Texture does get Monyet first. Dust settles 3 versus 3. I mean, what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to say? When you see 2 raises just coming out into the open with Showstoppers, you really just have to have your hands up in the air and wave like you just don't care. Anyways, again, Gen.G able to go into the C site, gonna be able to plant that spike in, and the quick rotation, the quick huddle around Rubble works in their favor, because now all of the utilities that PRX has kind of sprinkled around the map has been subverted for the most part, except for this one really weird off-cam from Forsaken that's been spotted.
Surprised that he caught it. Although it was a bit of information for Forsaken nonetheless. We've got some smokes up. We've got Mindfreak available, and they're trying to work their way in. Getting those heads-up duels will be advantages.
There's the NT, not nice try, but the neural theft activated. Meteor still holding on, man. He is a force to be reckoned with, but Mindfreak comes up to win. Time is going to be enough to defuse that spike. But man, oh man, if Forsaken didn't pop off there, I shudder to think what would have happened for PRX.
And just before I go into the analysis, can you do that again for me, Azrai?
No.
Really?
No. We will do it again when we have the same exact situation happen.
Okay, right. I'm gonna hold you to that.
We don't want to overdo it. We don't want to overstimulate our audiences.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, sick.
Azrai's voice stimulating and titillating. It was really fun. It was really fun. But I mean, again, the main thing is after the exchange, right? The both showstoppers, the rotations came through. Gen.G reads it, and then the retake coming in. You've got this Odin, but Forsaken getting the heads-up duel, and just Meteor holding the angle off. It's beautiful Valorant on both sides, but Mindfreak clutching out on top of it was the main factor.
Now, seems like we're back, down to even. Door's been opened up, but no one wants to charge in on tree. I guess it makes a lot of sense. They know that Odin is available already for device, so they don't want to get, peppered, wall banged to oblivion on tree there. They just want to make them think. Device already pushed up here, so now he knows no one's actually inside this position. So there is a lot of merit that they might actually break through that link, go to B, or rotate around. Meteor, his timing is going to be very crucial. Forsaken chase a little bit too hard, and he has the lockdown. He can activate it right now, let the rest of his team come in, or use it as bait, force the rotation away from PRX, and go elsewhere.
And that's the best thing that Gen.G has going for them right now. The number of options that they have thanks to Meteor getting that first kill. But now, committing over to B side, paint shells in, it buys PRX a little bit of time for something to come up with the judge.
He knows someone's right behind him. But since they haven't picked up that spike, he can just be as patient as possible, hold for the rest of his team. That's all he really needs to do. Texture stayed, not going to do much damage, but he does pick it up. Something's got a cloud burst. He can get closer and closer here, create that tempo if need be. But the one that's going to have to hold the most is Meteor right on top of that B site, which he does, leaving Mindfreak in a 2 versus 1. They've doubled up onto the corner here. They got a shot at step. He's got a shot at step. But he's waiting patiently, but you mentioned it already, man. They're stacking up, and he can't do the high-low. Too slow, and that's going to be Gen.G with a round advantage.
That is such a difficult shot to land. I mean, the only time I've ever seen anyone pull off something like that was like maybe Sentinels a few years ago, but still.
Wow, what memory you have, sir?
I don't know, I'm thinking of like Dapper or something. But still, I mean, back into this one, it's just so darn good from Gen.G, the way that they're playing this. I think something kind of jumped around and fired off his judge, thinking that maybe he would be able to buy the attention away, but Gen.G doesn't bite that bait. They stayed hard up on stairs, B stairs, up against some of these players from PRX like Mindfreak, and making sure that they wouldn't be able to push out.
Yeah, and again, it's because they don't really have to chase him. Again, they can rotate elsewhere on the map. They still had Meteor coming through C that got the kill on Forsaken here. That's a trade for trade. Something's got the Blaze. They're pushing up very aggressively here. Forsaken wants to create more tempo as the rest of PRX up into Waterfall on that flank. 3-3. Gen.G's trapped onto the site. Smokes from Mindfreak to provide some coverage here. Paranoia to delay them just a tad bit further. One satchel. Pushes right in. KAWAN holding. Thinking he could be top of the spike. Numbers of PRX dwindling down. Something's going to have to make something happen here. That right click, very shallow, and that's just going to be a clean pickup.
Ya Allah, PRX kalah sih.
Cleanup, excuse me. Quick cleanup.
Masa gitu mainnya sih?
Because Gen.G's too fast, dude. I can't react in time.
We can't even say too much about like economical damage either. In that round, PRX was just really trying to find as much as they could, get some kills in. Getting the Blade Storm going was, a glimmer of hope, but just a bit of hope at best, because it was just way too difficult. Gen.G saw the flank coming out. They knew, all right, let's just go into C instead. So something's not going right for PRX right now. Alex calls in the timeout.
Just a bit of a breather again here. Usually when that happens, PRX do get their second wind. And they definitely need that. Especially for all of us that have predicted that PRX should win the series. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I'm really curious about the interview if we do get to talk to PRX later. Like something's definitely off about, you know, the form or the mood in the team right now. It's not always so often that you always, you know, when they don't perform well, it's usually when you start to see these patterns, like Forsaken or something start to go chasing and hunting. They don't feel good, and they want to shoot themselves back in the game. And that's something that just doesn't work out so well, especially against the Gen.G that's feeling this confident. They're like, all right, you want to chase us? Come at us.
I can only assume it's them trying to uphold their performance from last year. You know, chasing that high that they got, and it might be getting into their heads. I can only assume. I don't know if it's the real cause, but there definitely is some. There definitely is a change up here from something. There you go. I changed my words already. Anyways, Monyet still hasn't really shown what he's got on this raise. I don't think he's gotten too many big of highlights. You know, it's just the crossing of the streams of those showstoppers that we saw, but that's about it. Still pretty early into this game, though.
Not really feeling all that much yet, but at the very least, trying to get a read for Gen.G's game plan right now. We've seen a lot of that A to mid link play, like you mentioned before, Asteroid, and PRX are trying to adapt around it. They know that Nightfall is available as well, so just trying to play away from it. Now they're set up for something, maybe to at least toss paint shells to deny spike plant, but look at how Texture is hunting.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
He barely dodges that, gets out of harm's way. But that's the power that they've got. Big kill onto Munchkin there, though, but Meteor's still holding on Rubble. If he can hold on to this position, his teammates can rely on him to hold that long angle right now, but not available anymore. Texture throws the nade from up above on Heaven, so they know that somebody's at least up there as he tries to reposition. The rest of PRX coming in closer. Something floating, stinging like a bee. That nade is going to be so strong. Lakia, over-analyzes the situation and gets punished for it. But Texture is all in his wheelhouse, baby. Smoke does dissipate, so Devi very quickly will be able to get that refrag as well as the complete defuse, and PRX strikes back.
Yeah, classic PRX protocols coming in for those trades. Something with the shorty floating into the dark cover. That was always, you know, that's always fun to watch. But it all starts with Monyet. I think he was trying to create a little bit more space, but the paint shells kind of threw off. And he died really early on because of these shots coming in from Gen.G. However, once something comes in, once Forsaken starts to get going, they can go in for those trades. Then we see the PRX fold. The PRX that we're all familiar with. We need more of that, though. I mean, you can't just always rely on these retakes. These round was won thanks to Alexa's timeout. That was thanks to, you know, the read that they had, knowing that Lakia would go in for that Nightfall.
Yeah, and again, as I mentioned already, losing both the players holding Rubble, the long angle, was such a huge discrepancy for Gen.G because they can always have someone hit the re-lurk outside of A main. Anyways, moving into this round, there's only one player holding that A side, and it's Mindfreak. He's put himself the one-way smoke on Tree here to give him some form of anchoring spot. But thankfully enough, no one's gotten very close into challenging him just yet, but now they do. Prowler's been used. Wow. He's just going to get pushed back, and Monyet just making sure that Link is unoccupied by the rest of Gen.G.
Yeah, Forsaken too. At least getting the frag onto Meteor, but now the hit comes through.
Devi holding the backside, anchoring it for the moment. Waiting again for Monyet to double up with him and try to do something as of now. Dog is available. Monyet, like that reposition. Wait, what is happening here? Locky is trying to run away. He opens the door quickly, backs up, but something doesn't have to challenge him just yet. Munchkin has the wall, drops right down, and he has so many angles to deal with. The crossfires, too numerous for PRX, and we equalize once again.
Yeah, this is what we want to see from PRX. This is the PRX we need. The tempo in which they're going, not just, you know, going for those early aggressive kills, trying to find frags, or chasing down Meteor. In fact, what they do is to kind of pull back. You got Mindfreak, set up that one way. You know, you got hold your space, make sure you gain map control, and you got Devi just kind of getting information off of stairs. jump peeking a little bit. Once they confirm that the hit's coming through, they have an idea of where Meteor could lurk in from, and that's what they want. That's how Forsaken picks up that first frag. That's how, you know, Mindfreak does a little bit more.
Speaking of Mindfreak here, he held for a very long time that tree position.
Yeah.
Loving how he does it. I mean, yeah, sure, he doesn't get any kills, but the threat of him of getting that kills and forcing Gen.G to put that into the factors of how they push up into a site is pretty huge. I will say, though, I don't think I've seen Forsaken be successful, in holding a site. He's been good at getting the lurks because he's Forsaken, but the setups that he's done on C really hasn't resulted in Gen.G you know, being thwarted. Meteor has gone there and got those flags, so I don't know how far he can go into this. Top shots does put Munchkin down to 56.
It always makes you think twice about wanting to lurk or at least call some rotations over. They know that there is a bit of PRX presence all across the map, and PRX is no longer, you know, really pushing out all that much anymore. So Gen.G now trying to play along with this tempo, trying to adapt to it, but it burns down the timer. Look at the clock, Aserai.
Look at this, though. Gen.G can actually go for that link, and if something is too slow into this one, even if he escapes this, he's going to get pinched in. Unfortunately for PRX, Meteor gets it once and for all. Monyet comes in here with a showstopper, and the rocket goes boom, boom. That's going to be Monyet get the finalizing kill. And even though something falls, PRX were very quick to adapt and to respond to the offense of Gen.G.
I will take that budget, that bootleg, boom boom from Aserai. Not quite the one that we got from before, but you know, still good.
All right, so stop chasing it, stop hunting it. You'll get it when there is a well-deserving
You were absolutely right with the setup that something had. I mean, I would have thought at least he would be able to secure at least one op kill, right? But the rest of the team reacting that quickly, Monyet knowing to go for the showstopper that soon, that was what PRX needed, and that's why you got to have this setup from PRX. That's why they're not pushing out all that much. It might not be, you know, full-blown W gaming, but this is also what Victoria was talking about before, that lateral shift. You're not always that same PRX. You've got Monyet now, and it's just that much more control. Of course, though, Gen.G now starting to feel the pressure. They call themselves a timeout.
Yeah, and if I could just add, I've had the pleasure of also being able to cover the Indonesian scene because, you know, Southeast Asia and everything. Monyet's been there for a good chunk of time before he joined Global, right? And a lot of the characteristics, I think, of the Indonesian scene is how well they can adapt in these very tight-knit, very crunched-up situations. And you see that be translated into his play with PRX very quickly. I think there was an interview where he said that he needed a bit more time to adjust, but because he's been in that situation for such a long time in his local scene, you see that translate into Pacific League 2024 with PRX much quicker.
Wah, kalau nggak dapet satu sih parah.
Back when he was an Onyx, you know, APAC, LCQ, he was doing things such as neon plays. Kid is talented. But, I mean, apart from that...
I can't believe he's, like, 10 years younger than me, too.
Okay. I don't know how old you are, right? But, anyway, I mean, this is a round where PRX has some guns. Gen.G, on the other hand, it's more of a half-ish, force-ish, not half-buy. Yeah, and you're always thinking about, like, you know, they called in that timeout. They want to suss out information and get a feel for how PRX is defending this time. But something's not going to make it that easy.
Oh, that's way too many people close up in the face of Monyet there. Something's going to back away, retreat. Danger, alert. That nade.
Bisa gitu loh.
Not big damage. But as that door keeps closing and opening, they don't know how many players have already exited, how many players are still holding. It's holding. It's texture, one down. Something. Oh, overflex. That's Meteor. He can call back his teammates if he wants to. There it is. Lockdown available, and Meteor opens up the A side by pure sheer power.
I got to see the replay on that. Watch them run. I mean, it's so interesting and off-putting how Gen.G is approaching the map. It was a half-buy. You just had this squad of stingers. But guess what? Here comes Forsaken and the Spike Flag goes down.
Yo. This man might not be the Guardians of the Galaxy, but he is the Guardian of Lotus. 4 kills for Meteor on a Guardian, man.
Gila.
That's pretty insane. Dude is tapping heads left and right.
Gila sumpah.
Yeah, first of all,
Bisa
we had the
gitu loh
space
guardiannya
from
loh.
GEN.G, like I was mentioning before. I mean, it's a little bit weird to open the door and then just hide inside a tree. But then PRX coming in to investigate, and then off of that space,
Apa
Meteor
coba?
is the one that
Apa
they
coba?
weren't really expecting to be there, and because of his sharpshooting, he's able to pick off their heads just like that. Something wasn't quite able to deal with him, and that's something that I definitely did not expect. I want to see something with his op, really, really pop it off, but he's not doing it so far.
And with all of the abilities that can really flush you out as a jet with an operator, it's very hard for him to do that. Yes, there's no big flashes from GEN.G here, but Prowler, Boombot, Smokes, Paranoia, there's a whole slurry of non-flash abilities that can really irk you if you're something. So GEN.G's been using that to a very good extent.
Now going up against him as well. However, he holds his ground, picks up the first one, and backs away. So this gives PRX a little bit more information, and inkling as to where GEN.G wants to approach from. Something re-peeks and holds the angle. Defy comes in for an information play, but doesn't find all too much.
Ready for that.
But here comes something.
He's got the tailwind again, so he can get out of harm's way if need be, but over peaks. That's going to be the death of him. Monyet's now trapped here on drop. That Haunt supposedly giving away position, but somehow Forsaken manages to squeeze his way through the back of the side, leaving Kara by himself and Mindfree for the pinch. That is going to be PRX holding off one more round, and as this announcer mentioned, we are here for the last round of the first half.
6-5. I mean, still a really close score, and it doesn't put PRX out of harm's way. And if you're thinking about it, I mean, something maybe didn't quite get the kills, but at least bought enough time, did enough damage for his team to arrive on scene. And that's another thing. It's just Forsaken playing this role, unless they're walking into his traps, unless they're going into him, we won't often see him popping off that way unless he arrives with his team.
Yeah, and I love this from Forsaken. Again, it's old news, but I love how he's transitioned into this type of guy that can use these sentinels. And look at the man, he's still getting kills left and right. Munchkin, he's got himself a judge. I mean, long range, he got the Sheriff. If he can close the distance somewhat, maybe there's a world where he can use that Viper Pit. But look at how many players of PRX are just holding that angle right up in his face.
Yeah, look at the cones of vision on the minimap too.
Yeah. But they're getting closer. Hold on. Wait. Oh my god. Oh, the heart attack, man. Just think about it. But
3 players. All right.
Yeah.
Something wide swing. Okay, we got this. We got this.
Yeah.
7-5 is not too bad for PRX. Obviously not the score that you would envision for a team of this caliber. But still good nonetheless, 2 rounds ahead. If they can pick up the pistol, that would be even better. But of course, GEN.G has been showing us such a dominant performance today. I mean, these guys aren't buckled by anything that PRX is throwing at them.
Absolutely. And again, you do see that. It feels like I can't really say any names right now of GEN.G players on Lotus that's making any plays, because it's the whole team. It's how well they're able to play off of, I feel like, the setups that the Fate does, right? So, and then they just kind of feed off of that.
But I will say, I mean, like, if not for that, previous map we might have seen Texture popping off like crazy. This one, I will say, Meteor was someone who kept showing up. He was the one who won them that one round where they had nothing but a half buy, just using nothing but a Guardian. Meteor has been holding things down. Meteor has been dueling out against Forsaken.
That, and the one, actually, thank you for saying that as well. There's that one point where he was lurking on C, gets Forsaken, single-handedly holds that site and allows GEN.G options. They could even keep pushing that A site or rotate to C where Meteor was, so absolutely right. I will agree with that, and boy oh boy, he's 13-9-3 here coming into this second half.
Texture still as the kill leader too. So PRX kind of does have to watch out, but of course now that Forsaken gets to stretch his legs on this attacking side, hoping that we can see a little bit more from the team that won us VCT Pacific finals last year, and then of course going to champions as well. I don't need to introduce them; everyone knows.
Yeah. How much effort with both teams actually fight for rubble here. Because the thing about Lotus, at least in the pro scene that we've seen for the most part, is people will just, do basically this. Commit the rubble plays, and Gen.G, those nades are very deadly. My god, Texture, where'd that flick come from? Mind Freak, he's alone. He's got dark cover to work for days, but his opponent, they can last for months, so just see how more that is. 4 versus 1. He's repositioning around the corner here. Meteor hears him. I wonder if there's a world where Meteor tries to stab Mind Freak here if he over pushes or doesn't even check the corner. But
no.
Play it safe.
Current teams, no. No knife.
Wishful thinking, man. Wishful thinking.
But I mean, it's just how they play.
Gila
Very
sih.
controlled. They know the setups. And I do kind of have a feeling
Dibantai
that this is
Texter
something
di
that
Cok.
Gen.G had prepared. Studying game tape from PRX before, knowing that this is definitely something that we want to go for, right? This rubble control, it's so useful, gives you legs to have that option towards A or mid link if you want to, set up split pushes. They want to deny that. And that one nade from Texture, not to mention Lakia and Texture pushing in together, just throws PRX off so much.
Can I add as well? Munchkin's toxic screen was pretty huge for that, because usually you'd see that and say, it's the safety for the A side. No, it's the danger for rubble for you if you're trying to push that. Speaking of pushing though, it's the C. Zoom in past Monyan. Whoa, I love this! The double jumping PRX!
Yo, but they still got the shot, man. Whew. So although Manyan makes it through, has a Bulldog, can't go up against Munchkin now. What?
Last player
All right,
standing.
down to something with a Marshall. 3 versus 1.
Party's over.
Makes it a quick 2v1. Okay. That spike is very much out in the open for him. He's got a dash, he actually repositions. But wait, does that angle actually work for him? It's very risk, so he has to try to do something here. Oh my god. Oh, he even got the crosshair in the head near the body space of Lakia. Something overdoing it, going back into C-Long. I mean, it was for the information, but he kind of overheated in that situation too.
Really close. I mean, at least had the right idea to tailwind out of that hairy situation and to play for time a little bit, try to distract Munchkin. But, I mean, Lakia. As soon as Lakia goes in, though, just knowing to crouch and to keep his head tucked under.
Ada Marashi,
Lakia's
siapa
not
anjir ada
always
Marashi,
like
Cuk?
a standout fragger, but in some situations knows exactly what to do, has enough experience.
He's got a good head on his shoulders for sure. Something
Jelas
challenging here.
anjir.
It's tagged up. Correct me if I'm wrong, we casted Lakia last year, right, on Ascension Pacific.
Yeah.
Where he
Damwon
was on
Kia.
Damwon Kia. Did not really get any opportunity to really showcase what he's got there, but the Gen.G here, very much different. In a very good way for Gen.G, by the way.
Of course, now with enough economical damage, Gen.G not having the best guns. You got a Ghost on Texture, KAWAN on the, it's KAWAN still. PRX buying up, trying to do what they can. You've got something on this Outlaw, but Gen.G just respects all of this space and plays for numbers instead. They kind of relinquish A, which means it's going to be a tough retake for them.
Fair enough. Especially with the rest of PRX holding both stairs and A heaven. They've got everything locked and loaded. They don't really need to stay inside of the site. They can be proactive as much as they would want to.
Oh,
KAWAN does get that angle against something, but damage is already done here, Quack. Gen.G, I feel like it's only going to be exits and a bit of economic damage that they can really do in this round.
Makes me wonder if it was like the barrel peeking out. But
Probably
that,
is.
Again, yeah, it's just KAWAN still.
And it's that nerd talk about line of sight. You get closer into a corner. You can see your opponent faster than they do. We're not going to get deep into that.
34 degrees here in the corner of the wall.
TLDR, guys, the closer you are to a wall when you peek a corner, the worse it is for you. The farther you are from a wall when you peek a corner, the better it is for you.
Thank you, Asarai.
Yeah.
But yeah, still, a round picked up by PRX still as they move forward. But Gen.G has definitely caught up, winning out that pistol in the subsequent round after that. So now buying back up, I mean, we saw how Gen.G, you know, this round really just kind of playing it safe. Still a lot of damage, but apart from that, you're just thinking about how else PRX can come in, because here the game really starts to rev up.
And it's still so neck and neck, Quack. I mean, did we come into this day thinking that it would be this close between PRX and a revamped Gen.G? I mean, yeah, sure.
How many of us voted for, predicted PRX would win?
All of us except for William.
Lo. Pencet apa
Truly
nih?
is
Sorry
the
guys.
will I am. Will he? Or will he not? We have 20 seconds, so I'm just buying time, you know, for this timeout to pass us by and get back into the action.
But I mean, still just thinking about it, right? We haven't seen too much from Gen.G on their defensive side. We know that they have the potential to push out, especially with a player like Texture at their hands.
Yeah.
PRX has to, you know, be on guard.
True, and again, they have to be very aware of how strong the rumble control can be for Gen.G here. Again, it was only a glimpse of what it could be on that pistol, but it can translate into these gun rounds a whole lot more. Now looking quickly into the ultimate cache of both of our teams, PRX has got a little bit more of the strong suit with the blades and the showstopper available here, but Gen.G not lagging too far behind. If Texture can get that one kill, he will have access to that showstopper of his.
Which is why PRX is trying to get a read for that off of Gen.G's timeout. We've seen their A, we've seen a bit of their C. Haven't seen all too much else for now, though. I mean, newly formed PRX with Monyet now, just executing at the C site. Kind of bypassed Munchkin's judge. Oh, but look at that door play from Lakia.
Oh man, again, the door opens so quickly that you can't really sometimes react to the punish that could follow up from the defenders, and you see that activated so quickly here. Something now just going to be holding with the judge first. I do like this because, again, you don't want to play that close and hope for accuracy. You just want to go for the pellets first of this shotgun. Munch is going to be first on the pedestal. He's getting very close. I don't know who's going to get this one. On the corner, he will be dropped down by something. Coming in right now is going to be Monyet using that showstopper of his to delay even further. Meteor's getting in closer. Lakia as well. They need to make something happen here, and it's all down to Lakia. Good for the first. But there's so many just high angle position from PRX that he cannot even flick quickly enough to deal with. And that's going to be the 97 for PRX here.
Yeah, great solve on the C site. You know, you got something, you have a bit of utility, Divide with a guiding light as well. It just pushes Munchkin away enough for something to get into position to do things like this. I mean, he was really a lot more calm in this moment. And then picking up that Phantom and tailwinding away. Coming down to it as soon as they picked up those numbers, as soon as they figured out where Gen.G was going to approach from. Much more easy for PRX to defend post-plant.
Yeah, but again, Gen.G showing the same thing that they brought up here from that Breeze map, which is that they can punish the in-transit of PRX, and they do it once again here in this round. Look at that. Something's been dropped down as well as Forsaken. Monyet frantically trying to get control here of C. Doesn't matter if he is alone or with teammate. What a dodge from Mind Freak! Oh my goodness! They're trying to rally behind that showstopper of Texture. Great flash from KAWAN, and it's all Monyet alone.
Ya Allah, gara-gara something ngepicknya.
What a thrifty round for
I mean, all that utility, all those shots starting things off. We had the Sheriff, and all they really did was kind of just wait for that contact from PRX. Once that green light was lit, Gen.G knew exactly how to get going, and it just definitely is a PRX that, once again, starting to get in their own heads a little bit. You know, you got the previous round, things are starting to go. You know that Gen.G is on an eco, and you're like, all right, I can take them. You start to walk out, and it just hurts, man.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And again, it boils down to, I don't want to assume, but it feels like they don't want to challenge A for the moment because, again, they're afraid of that rumble control, especially when they saw the Texture was nearing his showstopper, so they wanted to try to go for BRC. Again, the adaptability of that is very quick. You can rotate either way because you have control of the door, but they somehow get pinched in transition of that, and we see Gen.G utilize that for the past 2 rounds. Now PRX feeling that pressure, gotta call for that timeout. It's not Gen.G getting that huge advantage, but every single time that you thought that PRX was gonna break away, Gen.G, they're bringing it right back, baby.
That's just incredible from Gen.G. There's a lot to, go into with how they are feeling and thinking about this game, but of course PRX getting to buy up onto the next now. You've got an Odin back on Forsaken. Something on that op again, but on the attacking side.
Okay. Oh, the Haunt actually gave away the position there of something as well as Mind Freak. Nade did stop PRX for just a few seconds here, Quack, but not really the biggest of hindrances for now.
Just letting them gain control over this spot, but look at the positioning that they have. Texture still up around, he could go up the ropes if he needed. And then you've got Munchkin just ready to welcome them with open arms on the other side of Link.
Texture's trying to delay as much as he can at the back of the site, hoping that he can stop the Monyets, but he will not. Lakia coming in to pinch, at least stopping some of this massive map control that PRX has gotten on that A. Spike will get planted. It's all about the retake here for Gen.G. Okay, Divide does find Munchkin here, making it a more palatable situation for PRX. Lakia opening the door. The Forsaken finds him with an Odin. Meteor's gonna just have to run away here, or just stay in the site, whichever. They're already pretty rich, so they can just buy up to the next round anyways. So he can make this into an expensive endeavor for PRX.
A little bit expensive, Monyet dying. But yeah, that's always funny when you open the door. Hello, say hello, my little friend, and Forsaken's on the other side. But
sorry, I just wanted to say that's why a lot of teams on Lotus have now just been picking up the Odin. I know it's not brand new news or anything, but this is a big reason why you can just wall bang for days that specific angle, whether you're attacking or defending. And it is such a huge, look at this. It's such a huge power play for you to be able to do that.
On the attacking side too, especially if you're behind Rebel, you can spray through and try to catch someone as they try to approach. And that's what Forsaken is doing again, just to give PRX a little bit more map control. But KAWAN.
Okay, a little bit of an overreach here for Gen.G for sure, as Mind Freak and Texture have been just blasted away. Speaking of which, Monyet to infinity and beyond, the showstopper comes to truly stop that show.
Ini baru benar.
4 versus 3. We have a bit of calm here as PRX do get access onto that A site, but the rest of Gen.G already right now the back of things. Meteor finding one, lockdown activated, but it is a little bit shallow. There still is position that you can play inside of tree as well as outside right there of stairs, and something holding the blades as well as the operator. This makes the long range fights a little bit more palatable here for PRX. Haunt does give away his position. They use that Haunt to actually get closer, but Forsaken holds for something. Something now against Meteor, 2 versus 1. That box not really giving too many angles for him to have safety on. And if he gets peeked, it's going to be 1 in the front, 1 in the back. That's going to be PRX 11-8.
So although they picked up quite a bit, making use of the Killjoy lockdown, Gen.G got a bit of space, but the setup from PRX was still just that good. And that's always the thing about, the A site. You've got tree that you can hold out from. You've got the stairs area that you can also watch from it. Divide knows how to play off of his teammate that way.
One enemy.
I just, again.
I don't care,
They're having fun. And when PRX are having fun, you know it's a dangerous time for you.
Ini baru PRX namanya.
You need someone to
Udah
keep those
begini
spirits
ini
up.
mah.
If not, something or Ilya will get really in their heads.
What is this? Okay, just, open the door, get tripped up, see what happens. Wall has been called in a little bit closer into the A main position, and that actually works in the favor here of Gen.G. As you saw, Forsaken get blasted very quickly. They're very close into the opposition right now, but Divide realizes that he has to come pinch in for his teammates.
Buset, itu baru.
Again, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee for something, loving
Itu
to use
tadi.
that floaty.
Ya.
Both snipers actually missing as they try to reposition quickly. But now they know. Meteor's position exposed. He's only got a Marshall in his hand here, Quack, and it truly is danger time for him. If he loses this, PRX will be on map point. Wow, okay, okay, Meteor! Woo!
That's the same Meteor that we saw from Gen.G last year, doing things with the Marshall. But still, I mean, when you think about it, PRX definitely had this round in the books. Very close to it, though. 2 kills with that Marshall. I mean, Gen.G's whole game plan was to really try to find a way, pull off something unorthodox, right? Make use of that toxic screen to surprise that 3 players on the other side of it. That's it, though. Monyet on the other side, PRX having game plans. A plan B, really, to keep themselves alive, and Devi is having fun.
I'm just going to stay quiet here and let us just enjoy the laughs of Devi. Make that your soundtrack, ladies and gentlemen. But as I was spewing some nonsense words, we've already seen some great impact actions here from Gen.G as something's been taken away from the board. Again, Gen.G still threatening a lot of that control on Rubble. This means that it's only down to really Monyet to entry into the site. Devi activates. The Meteor is here to just again anchor things. Denies access into that C site, and PRX will have to scratch their heads a little bit here. What happened? We tried to push in and actually pull in our heads. This Meteor repositions for this right angle. They might not know about this, and they will never do, as the smoke really just makes it difficult for them to gain any
way too
point
much.
of control.
There's so much delaying that the rest of the PRX members on the other side, if they go into this, it's not a favorable numbers duel. Something kind of losing to KAWAN on the other side of the map as well. It just doesn't quite work out for them. So Gen.G gets to extend their lives in this map.
Yikes, that
Nggak ketembak.
truly going to be the nightmare there for PRX, and you say it already, man. It's gonna extend the lifeline here for Gen.G. Texter's now gonna have himself the sniper in hand. What happened here at this point? Ah, yes, there it is. KAWAN getting that quick Rubble control. PRX couldn't push up because of all the delay tactics that we saw from Gen.G, and then C-Site, it was the same thing, but then Meteor was the one holding.
Yeah, it's all these tiny, slight bits of utility. You know, Meteor has the Nanoswarm. It kind of slows down the rest of the team. They can't quite follow up with Monyet because of it. And keep in mind, PRX has spent both timeouts at this point. They're on an eco. It's a bit of a half buy, but it's starting to bite them in the back. Ooh, KAWAN, where did he come from? Picks up the 2K. There's the quick flash from Devi. Okay, oh, hold on. Devi gets 2, but never mind. All right, I'll bite my tongue there. 12 to 10. Gen.G really having solid control on Rubble, man. There is no answer for PRX in these past few rounds. Past 2 at the very least. The adaptations, I mean, that's another thing with the PRX structure. You know, all of them are giving ideas as to how they want to approach the map or figure out ways to deal with Gen.G. But yeah, they've
Gila masih ngetes lu A-nya lu, padahal A-nya udah digituin mulu.
You know, unless there's a clear answer, we might actually have an overtime at our hands.
PRX are running out of credits to actually fall back on for the moment too. This camera,
texture and an off.
Yeah, there you go. Does give away the position too of his opponent right in front of him. It's only Forsaken really just holding A main. He wants to be able to anchor this by himself from the looks of things. That will allow PRX to, again, make do with elsewhere. But they're so far back from both sides, man. They haven't really done this kind of slower approach at all in this map.
There's not that much control. One-way smokes are all being spent up around this one spot. And then, of course, you still got Munchkin available with that toxic screen. A is a very difficult spot to hit right now, but trying to make something happen off of the Odin suppressive fire.
Okay, they open the doorway into tree. Woof, Texture, here you go. Inside the smoke is going to be KAWAN. Then PRX are pushing blind into the site. They gotta just go for that contact. Something. Finding Munchkin.
30 seconds left.
Showstopper activated. Does that stop the plant on the spike? Yes,
okay,
it will be. But it's trade for trade here, Quack. It's not the end of the world. Something repositions, almost gets hang by the rope side. Lakia pushed out something.
Ketawa dong kelihatan.
There's the plant on the spike, 2 versus 1 for Meteor, but Meteor has truly been a miracle worker at this point. They're backing up into the corner and something finds it with the 4K, and we are going to map number 3.
I mean, in that last round, you could feel almost that tension, the rage that something had seething behind him. Having had it, he pushes up, he picks them off one by one. It was a great setup that GEN.G had, a brilliant idea, you know, playing off of KAWAN and Texture. KAWAN playing a bit of a distraction to try to step away, Texture holding the off angle with the operator, but it leaves them with not much of an escape route, and something is able to take them down that way.
And now we're just going to pass it on to our panel to discuss things a whole lot better.
The score is now 1-1, and it seems like PRX here, they are
13-10.
We did see in the coach's interview that GEN.G did prepare specifically for PRX, and it looks like they're showing they did their research very well.
No, they very much did, but this was a much better effort from the side of PRX. I mean, you can see 14 first kills there for the side of GEN.G, only able to get those 10-round wins. It's another 13-10 scoreline, and now we go to map number 3. So we're going to get a nice little zoom in here on GEN.G Sunset to see how they are prepared for that map, and whether or not they're actually going to be able to close this one out. But this was still similar to, you know, it's one of those series, one of these maps that just doesn't really tell the whole picture by looking at the scorelines here, because it was so much closer. 13-10 already points to a close match.
Yeah, I mean, any of these, there was many that went down to kind of 1v1s, 1v2s, things like that, and many good chances for those clutches to happen. Obviously, none of them really coming through on the scoreboard.
Match found.
I mean, they got to rush out with the pistols, right? And the anti-eco. They are losing either the pistol or the anti-eco consistently throughout the series. If it wasn't for that, this would actually be a much...
Deathmatch. Warm up.
Kok nge-frame ya? Gua nggak nge-frame, cok. Tuh FPS gue drop aja.
My people, are you ready? You must cultivate a sense of calm. Fight! Woo! Let's start!
Tuh, drop FPS gitu. Tuh, lah. Allahu Akbar, FPS-nya drop. Anjir, aneh, cok. Weh, 75 Hz bisa apa, cok? 75 Hz. FPS drop mulu.
Enemy punished. Oh, come on. Just swag.
Ya Allah. Gila lu dia bro. Ih anjing 75 Hz bangsat.
Dominating.
Najis gue mah. Najis. 75 Hz goblok.
Useless individual.
Kaki doang dong.
Ten kills remaining.
Lu aneh. On.
Five kills remaining. One kill remaining.
Right there.
Aduh, ngelag 75 Hz blok.
That's when KAWAN was still adjusting, and he was the only person in the server. Hold that thought, because we've got a Sage coming back.
Long time no see.
They are playing
the get-go.
duelist list.
Yep, no
Sunset
duelists.
on PRX.
Lots of interesting things we can talk about here.
I see. Here's what I was
KO
maybe they were going to cook and do something a little bit
Viper
different. Maybe they were going to play a
Sage.
single controller for this map.
Lah, kagak ada duelisnya.
Divide go over to Killjoy and then Forsaken go Yoru alongside the race, but they are completely going off my script.
I actually kind of like this, especially because they knew that Gen.G's still running the Sky, and Sky just can't get as much information throughout the round now in this version of Valorant.
Kali dong ada duelis anjir.
Have a lot more value.
How do you W without a duelist? We're about to find out as we head into map number 3 between PRX and Gen.G. Quack and Asarai, over to you guys.
Thanks for that, our amazing desk. And yeah, I was actually just wanting to add as well, you know, in terms of the questions they were throwing away at us, in a map such as Sunset, where I feel like Cypher has such a high tiering here, how can PRX actually deal with the tripwires when they don't have, let's say, a Sova, you know, to break it easy?
Right? Yeah, you're just gonna have to rely on, like, I don't know, your bullets, or maybe, you know, Forsaken's fragment. But then that's not really what you want to use that for.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a bit of a head scratcher. This entirely duelist-less composition is not something that we see all too often. Actually, I don't think we ever see it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is PRX after all.
Say that 10 times fast, right? But I will say on Sunset, the Sage Walls are pretty insane because you can get into some good elevations that the smokes of Gen.G might not be able to blot out completely. That being this one as well, as we can see here on Market. But Gen.G's very aware of this, and Devi was almost taken down. But the separation, though, does allow them to get the pickup onto Munchkin. Now, the rest of PRX is going to be holding back the site, and they're just going down to work. Gen.G not in a comfortable spot, and they're just going to have to try to wiggle their way out of this as we turn into the 2 versus 1. But this could be a quick transition if Meteor can find some good timings on this, but he gave away that location of his because he threw out the camera.
Just a little bit known and obvious, but at the same time, PRX holding things back. I mean, this is what we want to see from them on the attack, from the defending side. You've got that Sage Wall, which is actually really interesting because it blocks off Market, and now it allows for the rest of them just to free in a target-rich environment. We know that they're going to approach from A main. We can just hold our ground and start picking them off bit by bit. Mind Freak with that ghost shot, picking up the double kill, and that's the PRX that we see.
And at least for these next couple of rounds, before Gen.G gets those rifles, the Sage Wall is going to be somewhat harder to break down, so there should be a lot more safer position for PRX to drop it in. Don't worry about that angle for a good chunk of the round and just be safe. Anyways, attack, success. Actually, very successful. 3 kills for the price of 2 bullets. Very, very good start here for Forsaken.
That's 300% success rate. No, that's terrible math. In any case,
could you? We are, you know, we're supposed to be good at math.
Why?
Because we have phones that have calculators, and you can check it.
Good save, good save. That said, yes, I mean, we do have calculators. We have, you know, the credit score being, you know, calculated for us. Forsaken getting a lot of those frags, and it's immediately putting a door stopper to anything that Gen.G throws at them. Not to mention Mind Freak out the lurk, and also towards the last kill on towards Karen. They kind of knew that this would be where Gen.G was approaching from, and it's just a good check from Forsaken nonetheless. So interestingly enough, we're swapping around roles so much from the Cypher now to the KO. Oh, and a Sage Wall that boosts them up. That's what the Outlaw and the Sage is for.
A lot of the elevation, man. I told you, there is going to be so many cheeky positions that you can utilize this with. And of course, the byproduct of just blocking off a certain pathway that Gen.G will have to break or wait for it to break.
Woi guys, hujan terus parah nih.
As you can see, forces Gen.G to be a whole lot more respectful of just, you know, pushing up into these certain positions. Ooh, Meteor, boot spotted.
Yeah, they don't want to lose their full buy run all that quick, right? They don't want to give the bonus over to PRX, and so just trying to be very careful off of it, cut noise, and then the execution through. Texture getting this first frag actually does so much for them because now they have more options, not to mention Munchkin making use of tiles to walk up front on mid.
Did they close the door on Market, though? That's still open, isn't it not? Okay, there you go. It's still closed up, so Forsaken doesn't have to worry about that for the moment. No aggressive push out here for Gen.G just yet, Quack. Maybe waiting for, or just letting PRX cook for the moment, but since they have to, some of their players have to go for the half shields, that Outlaw, absolutely terrifying. Texture's already here in the front lines, and the damage, the aim, the lethality, absolutely felt. Forsaken pushing in, picks up so many weapons. This man is an absolute Inspector Gadget. KAWAN.
Can't reload.
Oh, man. He's waiting for his teammate, though. He's waiting for something. Who has the wingman?
Wow.
Oh, no, the stun. The way he actually loses is he does not. KAWAN! 2 headshots, holds it off.
Bisa-bisanya lo kalah lo.
Anjir.
Aneh banget,
You can
sumpah.
definitely see a slight bit of miscomm, a bit of a mishap towards the end of that round.
Aneh banget, sumpah.
Forsaken starts things off incredibly well. Of course,
Iya,
Gen.G
Forsaken
tempers
udah
with that,
GG parah sih.
just trying to play carefully around mid as well, you know, gathering up towards A and then executing in. But then, just at the end of it, although Forsaken picks up a frag, you know, like you mentioned, swapping weapons, something I think wanted to pick up another rifle and just, you know, wasn't quite there to support. Forsaken on characters whiffing, so KAWAN just pops off, and now back to it. PRX does not want to let up.
Yeah. Again, that's talking about it, man. This KAWAN newcomer for Gen.G already showing why he's, you know, in that spot. This time, though, it will get punished. Devi holding a very high angle here. Not gonna get spotted, so he will get some damage in, but Meteor somehow manages to get that backside control already, opens it up. Will not have the north up for the moment at least. Dizzy activated, Paranoia huge. Is he really gonna thrash for the overkill? I love this! And Lakia, welcome! Okay, I was about to
Semuanya tuh dah.
you know, to the Blades, to Tondo Gaming, even though it is PRX.
Parah aja something.
Hey, we're not in Tondo.
True, we are in Sunset. You know, it's located in LA. Thank you.
But you gotta admire the movement, the way that something plays off of this. You know, just securing the round. My kill, yeah. He's off for that 4th quad, right? And also one more point after having spent the Thrasher.
Yeah.
But it's mainly, you know, playing off of that Dizzy. They've managed to pick up those kills as Gen.G tried to make a play through mid. So PRX definitely adapting around it, getting a lot of good information because of their utility.
And again, you know, just to get in a different point, it felt that this is the comeback for something in this specific or in this specific series.
Gila,
This is Forsaken.
This is Forsaken
Putting the hours
from
in that out,
PRX.
I mean, he doesn't even have to deal with the headshot. It's all body shots.
Flash.
It's an answer back to whatever Meteor and Texture did to them on that map 1.
Fair enough. Mind Freak now repositioning. Smoke doesn't allow him to push outside of market cleanly, but yikes. Is he gonna get thrashed in here? Actually into the pit with Texture and teammate. Doesn't matter though, as they chase Monyet into the back of the site, the rest of PRX was there to trade him off.
Not afraid, right? To throw his body in so that his teammates can kind of use him for information. And that's kind of how PRX reacts so quickly. As soon as they can confirm that the hit was headed towards the site, you had everyone rotating over and just to kind of set up around it. Forsaken getting those 2 kills just pretty much confirms that the hit was headed towards B.
Okay, I was waiting for like something else for him to say, and he just said guys, so yeah. Anyways, this change of graphic means that we are calling the timeout possibly from Gen.G. I don't think PRX will, you know, with how much aggression and success they've had in these rounds, be the one. And because you're absolutely right, Outlaw, it's getting so much impact as of the moment, and it seems like, again, Gen.G can't really find that answer against it because they've just been slow creeping up into positions where Forsaken is ready for them. And another, a double up to this is he's not the only one playing. It's him. Right behind him has been something, right? So if he misses, something immediately throws out the Dizzy at a high enough angle, it flashes the rest of Gen.G, they back away, allows Forsaken or something to reset the fight and put themselves in a position where they're more ready to go for the second encounter.
That's actually such like the interesting thing about this composition, because the initiators kind of double up as duelists. They don't have the same mobility, but with the flashes that they've got, it's almost like a Phoenix, but better.
Yeah.
And it's just really, you know, kind of allows them to make such plays, but it works out on the defense. On the attack, we'll have to wait to see. Right now, Gen.G has caught the timeout, so they've definitely switched something up, going for the full commit into A instead.
They have
showstopper, man.
Very much committed a lot of utility just to get into A main. They haven't even pushed yet on Link. They haven't committed to pushing elbow.
I'm scared about this elbow.
Truly, but look at how many players are already here on tiles.
Shit, ini baru W Gaming.
He tucks himself in the corner. They might not be able to clear him out, and he might get the best sandwich position of his life. He needs to do something here and now, which he does. The Divine does go for a trade. No walls just yet. He actually boosts himself up. What a chat moment here from Divine. Texture left on an island. He's got the showstopper. Divine, say your prayers, and that's gonna be that Gen.G. Oh my God, they got pressed by PRX, but they got themselves out of a tight situation courtesy of the myth, the Texture.
Made the round expensive, but yeah.
Texture, udah ngeliat loh padahal tuh.
Way to bail out the team, just committing the showstopper.
Standing.
And truly blowing things up to secure one more round for Gen.G. Ooh. That said, though, I mean, PRX, what a good way to push down tiles.
I love the reaction story that he just did. Was a quick sigh into a haha. All right, same play here for Texture. No contact just yet, though. No, they're really pressing up into this. They're not slowing down compared to last round here, Quack. So it is a full commitment right now for Gen.G. They want to get a quick start onto this post plan from the looks of things. They want to position for that, for the goods of this, as I mentioned, post plan, and save up as much utility for when PRX tries to come into the site.
Yeah, right. Same thing coming through. They know that PRX is definitely not going to make the exact same play. Something investing into this operator as well. So unless they can get clear vision, it's going to be so difficult for them to break through. But that's a great way to start.
Absolutely. Meteor into the corner here. Loving the use of the wingman to actually clear corners rather than defuse the spike. If he gets a target, that's an immediate concuss for you. And Texture's just so far. Even if he can win some of the fights here, he's just way far from stopping something from defusing that spike.
Unbelievable.
Boleh.
I mean, maybe it was Gen.G overextending a little bit outside of the smoke. They wanted just to check for information, but punished just as quick by PRX. I mean, the Outlaw being fired off, but then everyone else just coming in just as quick. And you're talking about Texture, but PRX, the movement that they got, I mean, Monyet, maybe just a little bit more comfortable on this this Omen.
Yeah, there's also that point where Lakia wanted to push out of his flash, but he flashed nobody. And then he just didn't know how many players of PRX deal with as he was holding that specific angle on A.
So off of that round now, it's another save for Gen.G. Try to play things slow and careful. They don't have all too much. You've got Texture on the Guardian, so you want to make the most of what you have. Back towards A, and you can see that PRX are changing things up again. You've got control over B shops, B main, and you don't see anything. So you have an idea of what's about to happen. That is why Divai as well as Monyet are playing that far back on A site.
And again, if this is a full commitment of like majority of the players of Gen.G, if they push out through elbow like this,
Monyet,
the
nice.
slower from Divai is going to stop them dead in their tracks. With the paranoia, that is a death sentence here for Gen.G if they're not careful. Thankfully enough, because of the smoke that they've had, it allows them to get access to the site. But it's a complete and utter disaster when PRX comes out to reclaim what was theirs.
Monyet padi mulu anjir.
Pretty lovely spray transfer. I mean, you're absolutely right, that's right. It's just a bit of a death sentence for Gen.G. You know, they see that they don't really have any options, might as well just commit to something. But what they did not expect was such a setup. First of all, Monyet in an elevated position, and then like you mentioned, right, Divai, he could have thrown out the Slorbs, but he was also just in position to gun down anyone that tries to step through. Now we've got some ultimates on the side of PRX. We've got 3 coming out from Gen.G. But, you know, they're not really the ones that you want to initiate fights. Gen.G needs a catalyst.
Speaking of Gen.G, they're still going for A. Sanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Thresh push down mid.
Expecting for different results. And the different result is, you're absolutely right. PRX, they've committed for this mid control. They thought that Gen.G would actually mix things up and try to go for that mid play. and it isn't. It doesn't. It's gonna be Gen.G once again holding for A, but Meteor is lurking. Maybe that's the difference.
It does buy a little bit of manpower away from the rest of Gen.G, so Meteor stays towards the back. The rest of them come back towards the front of A. And maybe we just retake from Link.
Thrash activated for the second time. Divide cuts off the corner. Plant denied, actually. Texture somehow manages to pick up a kill with the paint shells. No safe space just yet for Gen.G. They have to start holding some crossfire angles while they start defusing the spike, and he's using his teammate as some sort of third POV info gatherer. Not gonna allow them to push up just yet because of that toxic screen. And here comes the contact, and Texture is coming out on top of this, and it's somehow working somewhat favorably for Gen.G for a moment right now. But again, no plan on the spike just yet. Numbers still favoring the Korean side though. Something comes in with the operator, dwindles the numbers a little bit. The TP comes in around the corner. How close does he know? Very close, he knows about it. Oh my god, no way, Meteor.
Gila apaan tuh?
Open field, man, out to just get laid out and dry, and PRX full
Lompat gitu
control.
langsung dem.
It was a nice clip from Meteor, but yeah, not quite enough. Full control from PRX. I thought things were starting to get really dicey, especially up around Link. I mean, if you look at what Gen.G was about to do, yes, they wanted to get that spike down, but they couldn't quite do it because of the Thrasher that came in, because of this looming threat that was PRX. However, Texture was just held on the other side. And if you look at the layout of the map, there's so much more space around alley, around elbow, and that's what Gen.G did. But as soon as that op sounded off, man, things started to go wrong. They had the pressure of the time against them.
And playing on the side itself, unless you're getting pushed in, you don't really have great line of sight on any position on A. So that's just very bad boo-boos here for Gen.G.
Boo-boos.
Now they're mixing up. For how many rounds was it? Like 4 or 5 rounds straight. They just kept going A, and now they're gonna try to go hold their way onto B.
Look at the setup on B.
There's something with an op too. Oh wow, they might actually get collad here if they're not careful. Into the corner is also Mind Freak. They've come into the trap, man, of PRX here. Come into the spider's web, as they said. They're gonna have to try to pick up this spike if they can. Something's just denying it every single time. Meteor's here. Divide knows about it. And PRX.
Gila sih.
Is the world back in order now? They're 8-2 here, Quack.
Very much more comfortable, but then, you know, it is still just the first half, right? I still want to see how this composition works on the attacking side. But that said, I mean, this is such an incredible performance. You're talking about it, the PRX fold, but it's also just how they are controlling the map. Gen.G actually looks a little bit lost, although they possibly have studied how PRX played this before, watching AVL, but that was when Jing was still in. That was when they had a raise. This is very different. They're not pushing out all that much, and whenever Gen.G just hangs back and waits, PRX has a little bit more time to creep up. If they have control over B main every round just like that, with something on the op to vibe with the off angle on a Vandal, it is so darn difficult for Gen.G to fight back and wrangle for map control.
Absolutely. It just stems to how much more control they have on that defending side, right? You were talking about it. Honestly, I was actually thinking, you know, we were conversing before the game started that it could actually be Monyet that picks up the raise, because it fits well, right? Jing on AVL was on that raise. Monyet plays the raise. You put 2 and 2 together, but no, PRX, they do a curveball. PRX things.
PRX things.
Yeah, and you can already see a bit of stress for the coach here of Gen.G as they are huddling, hoping to get themselves these 2 rounds as we are almost coming into a close for the first half.
Tell you what though, Asterai, we've got 4 ultimates on the side of Gen.G. Texture on the showstopper, I think, is the one shining light that they were looking for. They could really use that to break apart PRX. So I wonder if Alex can anticipate this. But looking at Divide,
I mean, he does have the safety of Monyet right with him. They don't even know if Device boosted here. They are aware of it. Oh my god! Device might actually get punished, but no one yet! Holding his hand! It's the PRX security system, dude. And just as the smoke comes up, Device gets a whiff of Meteor pushing in. And in just the blink of an eye, Quack, 2 drop down from Gen.G.
The whole game plan has just been thrown in for a loop. How do you recover now? You've lost Texture, you've lost Meteor, both star fraggers. Maybe KAWAN, but I don't know how much this Paranoid can really do. Look at the sight lines that PRX has covered. Something, in case someone pushes out mid, you're gonna get fragged. If you go through Market, maybe, but it's a full 5-on-3 retake. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's the worst possible opponent they wanted to give the kill for, but again, there's nothing really that Gen.G could have done in this situation other than go for that close contact. I was thinking they wanted to actually get someone
Habis aja
so that
seperti
they could
bantai.
get into a site. They had the Viper's Pit, but the one
Tapi dia
person
Taker
that they
nggak
didn't
tahu
want to give a
sini.
kill when they have a pit is something because of the Thrash. So many things that was working against the favor here of Gen.G.
Just so interesting how this composition is actually so good against Gen.G right now. Apart from that, also just how Devi was holding off. Man, the celebration's going off. I mean, that wall actually, you know, throws off Texture a little bit. If it wasn't there, he might have just felt a lot more free to dive right in with that rocket, but not now. Back off to this though. Last round of the first half, let's just rush into B. Why not?
Imagine if he actually didn't pick up the rifle there. That would have been very, very bad. Anyways, everybody's blind up until this point, but that Snakebite, man, they're just coming into this. We'll call this the PRX grinder. Pushes it up. There it is, 2 remaining players on Gen.G, now down to Lakia. He is lighting things up like a Christmas tree.
Hampir aja anjir.
As he loses the bullets, and there's still 2 remaining players of PRX alive.
Oh, good attempt, but still, yeah, this PRX branded grinder sold to you for $19.95. Chew up pepper grinds and everything else along with it, and along with it, some Gen.G members. Unfortunate, but you know, it's just that last round. They didn't have all that much left in the bank.
Yeah,
and you know, they just want to try whatever they could throw.
What did it say? I wasn't reading it.
My BF loves you more than me.
Oh, it's okay. At least you know where the extra love comes from or goes to.
We've got enough love for every single one of these players out there. They're all trying their darndest to give us a good show. But it's definitely not easy right now for Gen.G to fight off against PRX. 10-2 at the end of the first half, Asteroid. Although I am wondering about how PRX's composition will work on the attacking side. It also bears saying that
ini
now that they've got
maksimal
so many
13-6 lah, paling maksimal.
all they need is 3 more,
Menang
and
ini
that's not all that
13-6.
much. If Gen.G can't even pick up the pistol, it's going to be trouble. But that is something that our desk was talking about. PRX needing to get more pistol rounds, needing to secure those subsequent rounds after the pistol too.
And this could be the make or break for Gen.G, because when you're in this position and you lose the pistol round as Gen.G, you're forced to force buy. You do not want to play 12, let's say 12-2, or 12-2 with nothing but, you know.
So
like
when it's 11-2, you got to straight up just force buy, try to scrounge something up together.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's a little bit more pressure onto these Gen.G players' shoulders right now. They have been showing us a lot today. Texture has been fragging out. Meteor as well. Let's see if they can keep it up.
I also wanted to add as well, Devi, he's been the utility boss on this stage. You know, no safety for himself. He just full blasts, get everything. No shields, all utility. Man is giving his effort. He's giving his life for PRX at this point. There's the wall. Cross it up. No tripwires to be afraid of.
Wow.
Planting the spike very quickly with the wingman here. And backs away safely, only leaving, actually no, 3 players very nearby willing to fight inside near the smoke.
Crazy. Dizzy out as well.
Oh, okay, they're gonna keep fighting this one. But look at how cleanly PRX are just breaking them down. This wall is separating fights from Gen.G. They can't even create these crossfires anymore. And now here's the number game. But Gen.G strikes back, leaving Mindfreak by himself. Does he have the time? Does he have the utility? Does he have the angles with the Sheriff?
No.
And that is a resounding no. Gen.G, when all looks lost, PRX pushed it, and they counter, they strike back.
This might be a dated reference, but that's a no for me, dog. Dude, I mean, they look so good on that execute. You got Gecko, you got Wingman, little homie getting the plant in for you. Nobody was there to really do anything because of Devi's wall, right? Blocking off market that way. But Gen.G just kind of holds back. I was a little bit feeling a little bit iffy about a full 5-on-5 retake. But as soon as the firefight started to break out around Pillar, PRX started to push past the Pillar, and there was that little bit of a crossfire that Gen.G made use of. KAWAN getting those frags out now. Devi just couldn't have a good time. So, Gen.G moving forward.
Great start, you know, for the second half. Yeah. We're talking about how it's not yet over just yet. Okay, Monyet finds it. Quick trivia, by the way. If you're going to be a Cypher, you know, playing outside of B, you want the tripwire on the floor because it's harder for the opponents to break it. But obviously they can jump over it, but you know, just a quick FYI. Anyways, going back into this for PRX. They're coming into market. Munchkin hasn't even cleared this out just yet, and he is full blinded. Can he even find something with the judge now that Dizzy has offloaded himself on him? Absolutely not. Texture does force back everything, and then you can see PRX trying to find a different angle at this point, coming up the top mid, but KAWAN denies with that Spectre.
So there's a little chance Forsaken with the judge. I don't know how useful it's going to be. Lakia coming up from behind is the one that you want to watch out for.
Timing.
Doesn't want to overreach his lead too. Right? They still know that any player of PRX with any upgraded weapon is very much scary to deal with at this point, so they can always just do that. Yep. Put him in a spot that is most advantageous here for Gen.G. A solid second round in that second half.
Yeah, let's bring back some Gen.G rounds. But of course, it's a good bit of damage coming out from PRX as well, so a couple of these players, KAWAN, Munchkin, not quite being able to afford the bigger guns. That could be a problem as PRX seeks that match point round.
This is a nice spot. Come on, little homie.
So of course, it's a little bit important for them to really play off of this. Either bait your teammates or hang back because they are the controllers.
Yeah, like how the Blade actually clears more of B main. Since, you know, on bonus round, some players will just play on the back of that board. Thrash activated quickly. Not sure if it heard where the tripwire was, but Monyet is very much controlling this back angle for now. Devi also leading it, or rather defending the gap. So it's a pretty clean take here from PRX. They just had to use a bit of utility, but it works solely in their favor.
Still though, that fight across the pillars. As soon as Devi stays back,
can he get his ace? Oh yeah, he can. There it is.
Gokil lu, ace lu.
He was the sword, he was the shield, he was the healer. Man's Devi, the Swiss Army knife of PRX. What you need him to be, he will become.
The boulder and the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a round against a half buy, but you know, you were talking about the tripwires, you were talking about the executes coming through. All of that is actually just straight up negated because of Devi's barrier orb. Put up, Meteor can't really do anything against it. He might have that tiny gap, and even if a trip does go off, it just gets blocked.
And that's a big problem because they want to get that punish, right? Monyet is so far in front of this. That pop flash is gonna blow up in his face. Lakia does get the trade. Does signal the
mati pertama terus aja, ikon hidup.
Into A main. Devi, because of that ace, also now has his res up. So they're looking for a trade here where they can either bait their teammate for a res or just res them to res them. If that makes sense. Oh, Lakia finds one. Tripwire. Meteor holding at the corner of this site. Look at how Gen.G has just got all control in A main. This leaves PRX in such a tight bind. If they realize this, they might be able to push at the back of the site. But at this point, Munchkin and KAWAN just grinding their gears and cleaning up the rest of PRX, trapped again on elbow.
Yeah, a bit of that inverse where PRX wanted to retake from the earlier half. This time, Gen.G just making sure that their feet are planted firmly on A site. Gaining control over, the side, over Link, Ali, and then Munchkin coming up from the back of the elbow. PaperX were the ones stuck in that choke point. So it's a little bit awkward, especially when Manya dies that early on in the round. But again, keep in mind, only 2 rounds away from closing this out. Alex calling the timeout now.
Okay, sorry, I was getting into the vibe of the timeout here, but you know what, Gen.G, they're getting their second win. It looks like they have a lot more understanding of how to play when they're the ones on that defending arc, right? And it is working a lot more for them. The thing is, I also wanted to add, you know, we were talking a lot about how the barrier orb is negating the tripwires and everything, but if you look at it, they are committing a lot of utility just to go through into the side, which doesn't leave a lot of post-plant abilities here for PaperX, so it feels like it's just going to be raw aim. Yeah. But then at that point, Gen.G can match them up, which, again, works in favor of Gen.G.
Happened on the pistol.
Exactly.
I don't think PaperX does that too often, though, unless especially they have the Thrasher and they really want to make that play work.
Fair enough.
What we haven't really seen too much of is a play from mid. I think Monyet tried to explore that option earlier, but didn't quite work out too well. So it's back to another A. Question is, how do we break through elbow? How do we break through this main push? Latvia is holding such a tight angle. And of course, you've also got KAWAN, who's possibly going to position himself in an elevated angle up towards either Sight or Link.
Wow, look at how both teams actually scramble from A main. Imagine if PaperX just pushed that.
I could see, yeah, a timing push, though. If they throw that Dizzy past the bells, might be good. Maybe they're just waiting for that smoke to go off. There it is.
KAWAN's already out there, though. Even if he gets like double blinded for the Paranoia and the Dizzy, he's already out. That's why they actually left it, because Meteor has this camera marking up all the way on elbow. Spots out something, so that means that this could be a straight-up push. Where are the tripwires for Meteor here? That's going to be the important part right now, as KAWAN is going to try to feed off of it. Paranoia into the corner. This is going to be a very tricky time for PaperX, and they're going to have to try to do a lot just to get into that site.
Wow.
Perez for Lakia, or rather for Forsaken, but immediately gets refragged by Lakia. Thankfully enough, Monyet was there to punish. Dust settles, and there is the site taken. The numbers advantage for PaperX, as well as the long rotation here from the rest of the Gen.G players still alive.
Trade's good enough.
Sih itu harusnya something.
Okay.
Iya. Nice.
That was quick. I was looking at
they each got their one.
That maybe Texture could have gotten something, but you're absolutely right. Pop shot for pop shot, 12-5 in PaperX. They only need one more.
We're just reading the game really well. Although, yeah, it does not do all too much against KAWAN. It gives them enough space. And once they had that space, they were able to execute into the site, you know, just making use of the flashes again, or going past it, having the players to really come in and trade out for each other. That's PaperX style. Every single one of them capable of fracking. And also, Monyet having a good time, the young gun on the stage.
Oh. Sorry, I was letting you finish off what you were saying, because it seems like Gen.G was trying to get that heavy contact on B main, hoping that PaperX was huddled up. Not going to happen this time. PaperX immediately activate that null command. And as this kills, steps into the direction of kills, wins rather for PaperX in this series. Meteor gonna have to run away for dear life. Thrash activated once again here by something. Devi holding mid control. Lakia wins that out. So at least they have to deal with the possible flank. Control of the site and timer started to tick down here for PaperX as that spike has been planted down. Okay, Paranoia is activated. This is good. They're using this to bounce Texture off with the showstopper. Flash out for Forsaken. Oh my god, how did they actually get these punishes? But still, KAWAN lights up the entire house. 2 versus 1. Monyet coming into the corner right now. And it's all up to him. Can he get it? First one. Very low HP, but Lakia locks it in. 12-6, and Gen.G hold on.
Down to 5 HP.
Satu peluru lagi sih. Nah, ada menang nih. Kan gua kata 12. 12-6 lah maksimal ini mah. Menang 13 tuh.
Gen.G stays in the game. I mean, the way the entire site hit breaks out, Gen.G just couldn't quite hold off. And like you mentioned in that retake, Texture showstopper, you know, not quite being able to do what they wanted because PaperX knows exactly how to respond to it.
We'll say though, because of the threats of both that Paranoid and Showstopper, granted they didn't get any kills, feels like that was the opening that KAWAN needed to get those frags rolling for him. They called immediate down on this wall though. Texture's playing very close into this. This could be an opening for both of the teams, and there it is, man. Something doesn't miss. They can up this wall once again. Munchkin has to get close. He needs, or he wants to just stop them from picking up anything right now. He is preparing his snakebite for it. There it is.
Doesn't negate the wingman though.
Definitely does not, but has a whole lot of commitments of walls to just get that wingman in. And if Lakia can get this first frag, which he does, that's a lot of access points for both him as well as KAWAN coming in through B main.
Comes down to gunplay.
Oh, PRX realizes though, so they have to force fight this. Can Forsaken hold on, let his teammate at least fight for him. Cannot. And as the dust settles, it's Monyet 3 versus 1. And he's not even planted for him. He's trying to get closer and closer, but that spike is just diffusing in front of his eyes and he can't do nothing for it.
Good stutter step from Lakia. That's a nice idea from PRX. We've seen this execute already with the barrier or the get-go coming through. Great shot from something to open things up, but towards the end, like you mentioned before, Asarai, the whole thing just comes down to gunplay towards the end of it. All that utility has already been spent, and as Lakia gets the frag from behind, it opens things up so much that the rest of the PRX kind of got, pinched down inside B main. Can't really fight back because of that. And of course the guns that they had,
Yeah, fair enough, Better firepower here for Gen.G to make do with. One-way smoke always planted there on A main, but without the dog, PRX a lot more confident to actually push through this. But here's the thing. That Sky has not given away his position. So if he can play close enough, a guy like could actually be a punishing play here. But the bait and switch for PRX, they immediately knew what was up. Meteor though, yeah, mentioned it. Quick to go for the trade, but Monyet, unstoppable at this point, just keeps going in, and it's trade for trade. But PRX, as these dust settles, as these fights come to a conclusion, is looking to get a little bit of the advantage, and that is just enough for them to work with. Texture coming into the corner right now, finds one. Everybody backs away onto elbow here. They got the utility, they got everything. Munchkin. It's going to be big for him. He needs to find something right now with this flank because Texture is about to get sandwiched in. He's found himself that Phantom as you were talking about. Something's just too quick. He's just too good and he's just too fast, and that's going to be that for this series. PRX claim it.
Nice little setup towards the end there from Gen.G, but of course PRX dismantles it with gunplay and just moving up front bit by bit. I mean, throughout this entire map, we've been seeing so much and such an interesting composition. Gen.G being able to extend their life by so much longer. 5 rounds on the defense, but still 10-2 in the first half. PRX does it all, and I think something and Forsaken on these roles. Divide on the Sage also has quite a bit to say.
And again, PRX, they got a lot of time to cook new things up. We were expecting the same composition that they've had in the previous tournament. Maybe just allotting Monyet into the agent selection that Jing has, but no, he's his own man. He's his own person. He's got a whole new slew of things that they can bring out and utilize, and you saw that. You saw it. You see it here.
Yeah, Shrouded Steps inside of his smokes. I mean, it's the same stuff that he did at Global, just a different team and enabling them in a different way. The Paranoids at times also helping out the team so much. I mean, Monyet has been putting up good numbers so far today. The entire team has been doing great, but of course at the same time, Gen.G, I mean, what a way to start off the map. What a way to start off the match. Still though, towards the end of it, I think the bigger thing to focus on is just this duelistless composition working out so well. It just shows whatever role you play, as long as you are that good of a player, you can still make it work, because I'm seeing a big number on the First Blood stats under Forsaken in Something's name.
Loving that, man. And again, it's a celebratory picture here for PRX. I feel like a lot of fans were, a bit scared of what happened on that first game, but PRX, they brought back the status quo.
I know I was.
Yeah, because our predictions was in danger. Anyways, we're going to pass it on to the interview, so there you go.
Nice, udah guys. Gokil, itu dia kenapa harus 3 map gitu, padahal bisa 2 map. Aduh. Kita sudah dulu guys, sampai di sini. Thank you semuanya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.